Welcome to Missouri Healthcare Day 2023. I'm Brian Krause, Vice President of Education Programs for the Missouri Chamber of Commerce. We welcome you to today's program. Throughout the morning, we're going to zoom in to hospitals across the state of Missouri to see about the vital occupations that they provide each day and the services to the community and to patients around. Throughout this program, we hope that you as students ask questions. If you're joining us from Zoom, please put your Q&A in the Q&A box, and we'll try and get to as many questions as possible. If you're joining us on our Facebook Live channel, you can put your questions in the comments section, and we'll pick those up. We hope throughout the day that you get a chance to explore career opportunities in healthcare. We'd also like to remind you that you can promote this through social media, so please share out on your Facebook pages our program today. So, with further ado, we're going to get started with our program. Mr. Dan Meehan, President and CEO of the Missouri Chamber of Commerce, is here to start us off with our opening remarks. Dan, welcome to Healthcare Career Day.
Brian, thank you so much for putting this together. It's great to be here with students from across the state and beyond. We have classrooms tuning in from Maryville to Cape Girardeau, Kansas City to St. Louis, and everywhere in between. We also have classrooms from as far away as Ohio, Texas, California, New York, and many more states. For those joining us today from out of state, we welcome you to the program. We hope that today's event reveals there are excellent healthcare opportunities available for you right here in Missouri. Missouri is home to high-quality 2-year, 4-year, and technical colleges where you can come to study any healthcare pursuit that you are interested in. As we start today's program, we want to recognize that this is in direct partnership between the Missouri Chamber Foundation, the Missouri Hospital Association, and the Missouri Department of Elementary and Secondary Education. The Missouri Hospital Association works tirelessly to ensure that our hospitals and our healthcare professionals have the resources and support they need around the state. Let's hear from John Doolittle, the President and CEO of the Missouri Hospital Association.
Hi, I'm John Doolittle, President and CEO of Missouri Hospital Association. Hospital employees from around the state are going to invite you into their hospitals and show you about an incredible diversity of careers in healthcare. A great way for you, maybe someday, to earn a living and take care of folks. You know, a lot of times when we think about careers in healthcare, people immediately think about doctors and nurses, and they should. Doctors and nurses do amazing work. They're heroes in our society. But they're also members of healthcare teams. They're members of healthcare teams that are supported by all disciplines. People with different levels of education, different interests, different talents. But what's amazing is those teams come together in our hospitals and health systems to perform miracles. And I know you'd like to be a part of a team that can do that. Hey, darling. You know, I'm sure there are people out there who love babies and think helicopters are cool. And they might learn how to put those passions together as a pediatric critical care transport flight nurse. Some people are interested in a slower pace that allows them more time to connect. And there'll be career spotlights for professions who really get to spend focused time with patients over a long stay. You know, it's so important that we find people who want to help counsel children with mental illness, or helping deliver care that will help beat cancer for someone. I know there are some scientists listening to this, and a real science-focused career might be appealing to you. Well, guess what? Those scientific careers exist in our hospitals and health systems. We'll have experts who will talk to you about working in a pharmacy, or a laboratory, or radiology, some area that supports patient care, provides a great career. I'm sure many of you think those things would be fulfilling, and we get to share with you how those opportunities could become part of your reality. I don't wear scrubs, but I've had the incredible privilege of working multiple decades in healthcare and taking care of people who do. On Friday, February 24th, we're going to help you imagine a career in healthcare, whether it's doing work the way I do or work on the front lines. And regardless, you can start to explore by going to www.missourihealthcareers.com.
Thank you, John, for being part of today's program, and we appreciate the support from the Missouri Hospital Association for producing this. You've been great partners in helping us to bring this program together. Our second key partner is the Missouri Department of Elementary and Secondary Education, which has ensured today's program will help students and teachers alike explore various healthcare careers. We're going to hear from Charlie Shields, a good friend and president of the State Board of Education, as well as fulfilling his day job as president of University Health, located in Kansas City. Charlie?
My name is Charlie Shields. I'm President and CEO of University Health in Kansas City. I'm also President of the Missouri State Board of Education. So it goes without saying that I believe an event like this is really exciting. It brings together leaders from education and healthcare to focus on growing and developing healthcare providers and leaders of tomorrow. Organizers have worked hard to put together a lineup that helps you develop a better understanding of the many career paths available in healthcare. That includes all the exciting advancements in our industry. That said, we hope you make the most of this event. Ask questions and reach out for more information. The healthcare professionals you hear from today, along with the event organizers, are here to support you in any way we can. You are the future of healthcare in Missouri, and our future is bright because of it. Enjoy this event.
Charlie, thank you so much. We could not bring this program to you today without this partnership. We really appreciate your service as commissioner. And we appreciate Margie Van Dieven and the team at the Missouri Department of Elementary and Secondary Education. Together, it is our goal that you get a chance to see it inside a few vital occupations in healthcare. This program would also not be possible today without the support of our sponsors. We're going to roll that right through here so you can see who they are, and we greatly appreciate the support that they've given to produce this. Today, we'll be zooming into hospitals around the state for an inside look into a variety of fast-paced careers. I want to also recognize our host sites, Children's Mercy, Mosaic Life Care, University Health, St. Luke's Health, SSM Health, Citizens Memorial Hospital, Hawthorne Children's Psychiatric Hospital, and Boone Health. Missouri not only believes in attracting top talent to the state, but we also believe in the young people of our state as the future of Missouri. There is no better person to share this with you than Missouri's very own 57th governor of the state, Governor Mike Parson.
Hi, I'm Governor Mike Parson. I'd like to welcome everyone to our Missouri Healthcare Career Day. We have thousands of Missouri students participating, and it's great to see so many of you taking an interest in healthcare. Now more than ever, we need young people like you who are excited and ready to join this growing high-tech field. Today, you will learn about careers in the healthcare industry. Keeping our hospitals and healthcare facilities running at their best requires help from people in all walks of life, with opportunities that fit a wide range of talents and abilities. Missouri has thousands of open jobs in healthcare today. We need more nurses, technicians, and doctors. We need more pharmacy workers, dentists, and therapists. And those are just a few of the jobs you will hear about today. No matter where you are from, there are jobs for you in Missouri's healthcare industry. If you want to make a difference, I encourage you to consider a healthcare career. I encourage you to ask questions and make the most of this opportunity. And when this event is over, ask your teachers and your counselors about things you can be doing today to get ready for the great opportunities available across Missouri's healthcare industry. Thank you all, and have a great healthcare career day. It is an honor and privilege to be the 57th governor of the great state of Missouri. May God bless you, may God bless Missouri, and may God bless the United States of America.
All right. Please pardon the technical difficulty that we had here in studio, but Ashley, we're glad that you're here. Again, Ashley is an inpatient surgical and step-down unit nurse at Mosaic Life Care in St. Joe. So thanks again, Ashley, for joining us. We're glad we fixed the problem and look forward to hearing from you. But why don't we get started? Can you describe what you do and how you work to support your patients?
Yes, so thank you so much for having us on. I am an inpatient nurse at Mosaic Life Care. I have been here, I'm going on about 14 years. I've worked on the step-down unit the entirety of my career. On the step-down unit, I work at the bedside to take care of my patients' every need. So from vital signs to assessments, wound care, med administration, you name it, we do it. And we work together with the other ancillary teams to help provide the best outcome for our patient. So a little bit of everything.
Little bit of everything, right?
Yes, yes.
How does your team work together each day to fulfill your mission of Mosaic in the community of St. Joe?
So Mosaic works really closely with the community. We're always trying to do the best for our patients, the right time, the right place, all those things. And we work together as a team, like I said, all the different ancillaries, whether it be the PCAs, the respiratory therapists, the physical therapists, occupational therapists, the physicians. We all work together collaboratively to do the best for our patients. And it takes a whole team. Like you said, we have to work together as a team. It's not just one person taking care of that patient and doing the best for them. It's all of us doing the best every single day to do what we can to take care of our patients.
Every person on our team has a unique story on how they got to where they are. How did you find your way into this career path?
So I found my way into nursing back in high school, actually. I grew up in a family not coming from healthcare at all. I joined a class when I was in high school called Health Occupations, and we got to go to the local nursing home and get our CNA. So that's where I got my firsthand experience with healthcare and taking care of patients. So I was able to get my CNA and work in a local med clinic, actually, my senior year of high school. I met a lot of really wonderful people. I really loved taking care of people. So that's really what brought me into nursing. So I went to our local university here, Missouri Western State University, and got my bachelor's degree in nursing, and have worked at Mosaic ever since, and have never thought I made a mistake. I've always loved healthcare. It's very fulfilling. It's rewarding. You really get to help people when they need you the most.
So we're broadcasting out to over 6,000 students in Missouri and other states as well. Can you share with them what some of the soft skills or professional skills that are important to you in your career?
I would start with the most important thing I think that's important in healthcare is compassion. You have got to be, you've got to hold that within you. You have to be compassionate. You have to be able to help these people when they need you the most. You have to be able to understand, to sympathize, to empathize, to put yourself in their shoes. You know, it's going to be a stressful situation. So every day might not be rainbows and sunshine and flowers, but you have to be able to, appreciate that they need you, and they may not always show it, but they do need you. Other things I would say, back to teamwork. Teamwork is super important in healthcare. Nobody can do it by themselves. It takes a whole team. Another one I would say would probably be like critical thinking. There's a lot of critical thinking that goes into healthcare, especially working, I would say, at the bedside. You never know when that patient's condition is going to change. So you have to constantly be thinking, what's causing this, and what can I do? What should I do to make sure that this patient's going to be okay? But I would say it takes all kinds of aspects, all kinds of soft skills to incorporate into being a great, healthcare provider, a nurse, a PCA, a respiratory therapist. Like I said, all the things. You have to be kind of constantly just on your toes and ready.
So critical thinking, technical training, and compassion. You're dealing with people, and that's the bottom line, I guess. What advice would you give to our audience watching today on pursuing a career in healthcare?
Advice that I would give them is to do it, to, take that leap and, go to school, pursue that career in healthcare. There's no better time than now. You're ready, you're young, you might as well start school, whatever route you take, whether it be, going straight into a university and getting your bachelor's degree and starting from there, or if you start with a PCA and then work your way through, LPN, RN, whatever, nurse practitioner, whatever you want to do, just do it. There's no better time than now. So jump in head first and do it, because you'll never regret it. You'll never regret a career in healthcare. You'll always have a job. You'll always be needed. It'll always be fulfilling. You'll have hard days, but you'll have great days where you just feel like you really made a difference in someone's life.
That's fantastic. We appreciate your passion that you share with us, and obviously healthcare is in critical need for talent. So for the people, the students watching today, there's a demand for you to go into these fields, and it's very critical for our state. It's critical for the country, and I want to thank Ashley for all that you do and your team does at Mosaic. We are inspired by your passion and dedication to serving your constituents. Brian, I get to turn it back over to you, but again, welcome to all the students from around the state and other states that are joining us today, and we hope you get something out of this and take a look at healthcare careers, especially in Missouri. We've got a vibrant healthcare system throughout the state, and it's waiting for you to knock on the door. So Brian, back to you.
Thank you, Dan. I appreciate that. And it's great to hear from our opening speakers, John Doolittle, the governor, Charlie Shields, as well as Ashley White, a true healthcare hero on the front lines, making a difference for all her patients and those in her community. Thank you, Dan. It's been a pleasure to kick this off. And now we're going to go right into our first healthcare provider, Children's Mercy Hospital, neonatal, pediatric, and critical care transport. I'm excited about this. When time is of critical essence to move an infant or young person from a crash scene to the care they need in the OR, or to transport from one hospital to the next for the type of care that they need to improve their health, the transport team at Children's Mercy does a fantastic job. Let's fly in now and see how they do it.
Children's Mercy Critical Care Transport is the only 24-hour-a-day, 7-day-a-week transport program in the region, dedicated exclusively to neonates, children, and adolescents. Up to 10 teams a day are dispatched immediately from bases at Children's Mercy in Kansas City, Missouri, and Children's Mercy, Kansas. All transport teams respond by dedicated ground ambulance, rotor wing, turboprop, and jet airplanes. The transport program has been designed to bridge the gap between Children's Mercy and other medical facilities in the region.
Every day is different and it is really exciting. I really do enjoy my role here. My name is Janae Chapman and I am a communications specialist at Children's Mercy, Kansas City. As a communications specialist, I dispatch our crews to outside facilities to bring patients back to Children's Mercy. I also flight follow if we have air transports. And I also do direct admissions onto the floor, and we also provide our local providers with consults with our specialty providers. In simple terms, flight following is basically how we watch our aircrafts that are heading to outside facilities, as well as getting to our facility safely. The skills that I needed was a care assistant, and I had been a care assistant for 4 years, and then I obtained my communications flight certificate. The communication flight certificate is the certificate that we need to be able to flight follow for our air transports. The reason why having a care assistant license or an EMT license is important is because of the medical terminology aspect. If we get a call that comes in that's about an appendicitis, then I know that a surgeon needs to be connected with that provider to decide if that patient needs surgery or not. Coming in as a communication specialist, I actually didn't even know that's what I wanted to do. I kind of read the job description and I was like, seems really interesting. But once I started working as a communication specialist, I realized I really do love this position that I'm in.
Emergency medical technicians traditionally work on ambulances. I help make sure that the team gets safely to where we need to go. And I start the day by coming in and making sure the ambulance is ready to go and in proper working condition and has everything that it needs to make sure we can go get patients and get them back here. My name is Jeff Drew. I'm an EMT, emergency medical technician at Children's Mercy. I've been here 23 years, just a little over actually. So to become an EMT, one of the first things you need to do is complete your high school education or get the equivalent thereof. It's about a semester course to become just a basic EMT. If you want to go on and become a paramedic, which many people do, it takes a couple of years to complete that. For children's, you can become started as an EMT and then get some of the education assistance that they offer and go on and further your education, and you don't have to pay as much. The team atmosphere at Children's Mercy is pretty nice. We have a big family. Even when we don't see each other for a long time, even though we're there on the same day, we're still laughing and joking and having as much fun as we can. I'm kind of a person that I don't like to do the same thing twice, the same way. And if that's how you're built and all that, then this is a good line of work for you.
Kids get sick fast, but they get better fast. We can go in to a critically ill patient, do very few things, but these are things that we're used to doing, and that we can see an incredible turnaround. Kids are up and talking and wanting to watch a movie and wanting to play with a toy that we brought them. And just seeing them go from laying there, not interested in anything, to waking up and wanting to play with the toy or watch a movie is just incredible. My name is Alan Smith. I'm a transport respiratory therapist on the critical care transport team. On the day-to-day, what we take for granted of being able to just take a normal breath for so many is so difficult. We can reach so many people and help them with that. When we get to a facility, the nurse, the respiratory therapist, and the EMT will all enter the room. We all lay eyes on the patient to make sure, is this patient sick or not sick? At that point, the nurse will step out and get report. Me, as a respiratory therapist, I will go ahead and begin my assessment. I try to get history from the family. I ask my sample questions, so signs and symptoms, allergies, medications, last meal, prior events, things like that to try to figure out what's going on. I look at my job as I'm going in to find a problem. Even though I'm dispatched with the diagnosis, I go in and try to find an issue. And a lot of times I find issues that were not addressed prior to us arriving. Once I've done my assessment, I completed my history and my conversation with the parents, then I will meet back up with the nurse and we will come up with a plan. And between the three of us, we will execute that plan. To be able to take someone who is having a hard time breathing and help them and see them change almost immediately is incredible. I have worked for Children's Mercy for 17 years, and this is the only place that I have ever worked that has people that have been here for so long and is so supported by the leadership of this hospital.
What I love most about being with the Children's Mercy team is that it is always super dynamic. I love the challenge of not knowing where you're gonna be or what type of case you're going to go on. You get to really make a big impact on somebody else's life. My name is Christine Janda. I am a registered nurse here at Children's Mercy, and I've been here for about 7 years. Essentially, I am the leader of our group. The registered nurse is the one that communicates mainly with the referring facilities. We get reports and we speak a lot to physicians, especially the ones here at Children's Mercy. We are essentially their eyes and their ears. I worked about 5 years in the ICU, and that's really good to have a good foundation of critical care experience, because as transport, you're out there kind of on your own. So you really need to know your ins and outs. Compared to being on the floor as a nurse and being on transport, you have a lot more resources at your beck and call on the floor. You have more staff members that are around with you. You have physicians that are right there on your side. But on transports, it's you, your respiratory therapist, and your EMT, and it's just the three of us working together to fix a problem. There's lots of differences when we go by ambulance or by helicopter or by plane. First off, when we go by plane, we have to go to the downtown airport. From there, we load all of our equipment into the plane, and our personal space gets smaller and smaller. We know when we go for a flight that is typically a long distance, as opposed to if we are on a ambulance transport going within the Kansas City Metro. One of the most rewarding and meaningful pieces of my job is knowing that regardless of how terrible of a day it is for that family, I know that I contributed to their child getting better. When you drop them off over here at Children's Mercy and they give you a big hug and they just thank you, you know that they felt like somebody was there for them at the time that they really needed it, and that you were there to help provide that comfort and support for them.
Other transport teams are calling us asking for information, wanting to know how we do things. We have the best transport team in the country.
I didn't know that I wanted to be a communication specialist, but when I started the job, it's just unlike anything I've ever done before. And I truly do wish that I would have made the decision sooner.
I run into so many people that say, oh, I couldn't do that job. I always say, here's the thing is that most of the time, from the time we pick up a patient to the time we drop them off, there's a huge difference.
Come for a ride along and see how fun it is to have something that is not very standard or traditional on the floor.
Are you looking for a job that comes with adventure, with excitement, with a little bit of pressure, but the drive to learn, to be the best, to provide the best care, to travel to different places, see different things? You come to work, you never know where you're going to go. So if you're looking for a job that just demands the best, this is it.
What a great look inside the world of critical transport. Now we're zooming in live from Children's Mercy. Heather Scruton, Assistant Director of Critical Care Transport, and Angie Richardson, Talent Acquisition Program Director. Heather and Angie, if you can go ahead and unmute your sound and your video, and we'll go live to you at Children's.
And good morning to all of our students and educators that are joining us online this morning. My name is Angie Richardson. This is Heather Scruton, Assistant Director in Transport. And Heather's going to tell us in just a moment a little bit more about her department, and we would like to answer questions for you. But before we do that, I wanted to give just a little bit of an overview on Children's Mercy, as most people on this call are joining us from around the state or even other states, so may not be familiar with us. Children's Mercy is a standalone independent children's hospital. Our largest facility is here in Kansas City, Missouri, and that's where Heather and I are joining you from this morning. But we also have locations in Overland Park, Kansas, Wichita, Topeka, St. Joseph, and Joplin, and many more. We have over 8,500 employees throughout our health system, so that makes us one of the largest employers in the Kansas City region. What makes us a little bit different than other hospitals is that we focus 100% on pediatric patients. That's all we do. That's our specialty. In fact, last year we saw patients from 50 different states and over 17 different countries around the world. We've achieved magnet status 5 consecutive times, which is the highest level of nursing excellence that a hospital can receive. And so essentially that means that we've been recognized for having highly skilled, highly competent nursing staff and care teams to care for our patients. And then finally, like most employers that you will hear from today, we have a lot of different opportunities within healthcare. We're here to showcase transport this morning, but please know that if you are interested in transport or something outside of that area, you can find all those opportunities on our website at childrensmercy.org and clicking the career link. You'll find information about our tuition assistance program there, as well as our internal training programs. So with that, I would like to introduce Heather Scruton, Transport.
Good morning. Thanks for having us. My name is Heather Scruton. I've been in healthcare for about 3 decades. I started as an EMT years and years and years ago, went to nursing school and have continued going back to school because Children's Mercy helps me do that. I love working in critical care transport. It's very exciting. Prior to that, I worked in the emergency department. I worked with obstetrics, and I worked with psychiatric patients. So one of my favorite things about healthcare careers is you don't ever get bored. And if you do, there's other areas that you can develop into. It's a really fun field, and I'd love to hear your questions. I will tell you that Children's Mercy is the third busiest specialty transport in the country. We do about 6,000 transports a year. We have 14 ambulances. We have 2 airplanes and an S-76 helicopter. We do more miles in transport than anyone else in the country. We're busy. And so we're always looking for people who are interested in doing what we do and learning how to become the best at transport, which we believe we are. So I would welcome any questions, and if now's a good time for that, we could take those.
Thank you so much for kind of explaining a little bit about critical transport and for zooming in today live for Healthcare Career Day. We have a student, Jaden asks, and this is for kind of the nursing side of your field, how much chemistry is involved in being an everyday nurse? Good question, Jaden.
It's a great question. It was my least favorite subject, I will tell you that. So I feel this question. I took chem, I think it was 101 back in the day with a lab when I got my bachelor's degree. And then there was chemistry involved in the pharmacology courses and some of the other courses. I could have taken a higher level chem course. I chose to take a higher level biology course, and that was up to me. And then everyday use, it depends on your field, honestly. If you're doing transport, not often that much. Occasionally with the medications, we have to know how they work and the chemical interactions between them. For nurses who are scientists, you're going to see that more often. So if chemistry is something you love, you can find it in nursing. If it's not, then there are areas at nursing, once you get past that training in college, that you may never see a lot of that again.
You know, I'm not a big chemistry person myself, so hats off to you and what you had to learn in college and what you use every day. Great question, Jade. We have another question in. Cross Keys Middle School in Ferguson Florissant School District asks, how difficult is a respiratory therapist job? You kind of described that in the video. If you could go a little bit more depth on how difficult it is.
They're my favorites, I will tell you. I love respiratory therapists. And before COVID, people didn't really know what they did. But they're in the middle of any patient crisis that you have, because breathing is like the #1 thing we have to keep you doing. And that's what respiratory therapists focus on. Is it difficult? It's not necessarily an easy job. I think it's extremely rewarding. Like Alan referenced in the video, what you do as a respiratory therapist can often turn someone's condition around quickly. You're helping stabilize and maintain the way they breathe. And if they can breathe, they're calmer, they feel better, we can get them better quickly. The respiratory therapy program can be done in 2 years. It can be an associate's program. I think it's fairly similar as far as nursing prerequisites and RT prerequisites. You're looking at the sciences, an algebra, and maybe an additional statistics math class. Chemistry is going to be on there. And then in the training, you really focus on how human beings breathe and what takes place in the lungs and how that's affected by other systems in the body. So whereas nursing is kind of an overview of everything, and then you specialize later, with respiratory therapy, you're very focused on respiration. But I will tell you, they're the heroes. When you're looking at a code blue situation, the first person you want in the room is the RT. So I have huge admiration for them. Absolutely, Heather. And you know, that was one thing COVID brought out to the forefront, is how important that RTs are into the general wealth and health of our society and what they do day in and day out. We have a school right now. Fulton High School is ready to ask a question live. Fulton, are you there? Still climbing on board? Okay, looks like we're still trying to get them on board. One question did come in real quick is, does Children's Mercy offer tours for job shadowing opportunities to high school occupation students or HOSA students? They do. They have, and I'll let Angie speak to the areas outside of transport. For transport, because we're such a niche area, what you'll need is to be within 6 months of graduating from whatever medical program you're in, whether that's respiratory therapy, RN, EMT, and then you can reach out to me and I can arrange a ride along for 12 hours. So you can really see what they do and decide if that's something you're interested in. And then Angie, I'll let you speak to shadowing within the hospital.
So we do have some opportunities. It depends on the area that you might be interested in shadowing. Those are going to be reserved primarily for those senior high school students. And then certainly if you're enrolled in a college program, you would have opportunity through the clinicals to experience those different areas in the organization.
Great question. Great question. And, one last question, then we have to zoom on out. Corinna asks, what are some cons to working in transport?
That's a great question. And there are some. You don't know what your hours are necessarily going to be. If you get a transport call late into your shift, you go. And that means you're going to get off late. When you're in the air, it's loud. It can be scary. And there are risks to medical flights. There just are. Same with ambulance and plane. And it's hard to see sometimes because we're taking care of the very sickest patients. They're the most critically ill. And it's hard sometimes to see sick kids every day. The flip side of that is we make sure to reunite our teams with the kids once they're feeling better so they can exchange toys and high fives and get to know each other when, the kiddo's not so sick. And for my teams, that's really good for the soul. But it's a fantastic, challenging job. It's also a hard job. And I think it's important that people understand that. And I think it's really special to be able to say that we do that every day.
I agree. And sometimes the hardest jobs are the most rewarding jobs. And so thank you. We're going to have to go ahead and zoom on out to our next healthcare provider. But Angie and Heather, thank you for all you do and the critical transport team there at Children's Mercy.
Thank you.
During COVID-19, the Missouri Hospital Association worked together across the state of Missouri to coordinate the pandemic relief efforts with hospitals. Now, they have a new career resource tool that they developed during that pandemic. We're going to see a little bit about it, and you can go online right now and see what career in healthcare might be right for you. A great resource by the Missouri Hospital Association. Encourage you to go online right now and figure out, working with blood, does that suit you? Or maybe working with technology, or if you're a pilot in the making, could you work for critical care transport? Some great occupational pathways right there at your fingertips. Go online, check them out. Now let's move into our next part of the program. We're going to go into Mosaic Life Care to talk about nursing at all different levels. So let's zoom into the western part of the state to see some of the great occupational pathways and how action-oriented people want to make a difference in saving lives as they consider to be a nurse. We're going to look at nurses' assistants, licensed practical nurses, and registered nurses working hand in hand with surgeons, doctors, and a ton of healthcare providers each day. Let's see what it's like to be a nurse at Mosaic Life Care.
If I could talk to my high school self or somebody that's in high school about why they should become a nurse, I would tell them if they want to make a difference in lots of people's lives, if they want to give people hope and give people happiness than become a nurse. So when I was in high school, I went to Savannah High School and they had a program there called Health Occupations. So my junior and senior year, I did that. And we got to go to the local nursing home and get our CNA the first year. And then the second year, I got to work at the med clinic in Savannah for half a day. And so I didn't have any nurses in my family. I was kind of the first one to decide I wanted to jump into healthcare. My dad fixes cars and my mom does insurance. So it was a kind of a new thing, but I loved it in high school. So I knew I wanted to be a nurse then. So I went to Missouri Western here in town and got my nursing degree there. We did a lot of clinicals here at Mosaic, and I'm a local girl anyways. I've always lived here, will probably always live here, and I enjoyed my clinicals at Mosaic. It's a great hospital, lots of opportunities for growth, and I just felt like I fit in here. Mosaic has a great work environment. I think it's a very healthy work environment. I'm happy here. We have good benefits, we have good leadership, we have good people. We have a great physician to nurse relationships. You know, everybody treats each other with respect. The community keeps me here. I'm from this area, so of course this is home to me. So a typical day for me lately is I come to work and we do report, and all of our patients are COVID patients right now, which is what I've taken care of for the last 2 years. So I really feel like I have a lot of knowledge towards those patients. But a typical day would be gearing up, putting on my PPE, going and seeing all my patients. We spend a lot of extra time with them, I think, because they're not allowed visitors for the most part. So we get to know these people, and also their length of stay is a lot longer than a normal you know, like surgical patient or something like that. So I spend a lot of days or a lot of time in my day just talking with my patients and getting to know them and learning about their family and where they're from and people that they're missing while they're here at the hospital. I think that the nursing field is a wonderful job or profession for anybody that's thinking about nursing. I think if they honestly love people, you have to love people, you have to love to take care of people. It's not an easy job at all. It takes a lot of work, it takes a lot of heart, it takes a lot of commitment to your patients and to your fellow coworkers. But if you really want to help people, you want to make a difference, nursing's a great field. You will always have a job. The stability is there. You will always be needed. And you could go anywhere, you know, even within the organization. If you could move around to different units or different clinics or things like that, and then, you know, you could go, I mean, you could go anywhere in the world as a nurse. It's always going to be a stable profession. You're always going to be able to find a job, and I think that is good. Being a nurse allows me to change lives. Being a nurse allows me to help people when they need it the most. Being a nurse allows me to save lives. Being a nurse gives me purpose, I think, too, as an adult in this stage of my life. This gives me a purpose outside of, you know, your mom or your whatever else. Like being a nurse, it's a different hat you put on. It's a different person, and you're able to help people when they need it the most.
You know, a lot of you young people right now are thinking about, could I be a nurse, and what it would be like if I were a nurse in today's healthcare profession. Well, if we look at the state of Missouri, the numbers for nursing have gone up. Just in January, there was over 6,700 open nursing positions around the state of Missouri. So great, viable career. We're going to zoom in live with Ashley White and Dominique Bigelow from Mosaic Life Care. Ashley, welcome back, and Dominique, welcome again to 2023 Healthcare Career Day. The operating room is yours. Can you go ahead and unmute?
There we go.
All right, awesome. We got you.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for having us. It is an honor and privilege to be with you all today. My name is Dominique Bigelow. I am the nurse recruiter for our 3-hospital system, Mosaic Life Care. We have a campus here in St. Joseph, Missouri. We also have a hospital in Maryville, Missouri, and in Albany, Missouri. So we are a pretty big health system, and we're excited to talk to you about some of the opportunities that nursing has at all of our facilities. And I am joined here, as you guys met Ashley earlier, and we're just going to talk to you a little bit about Mosaic and what organization has to offer in regards to career pathing and really how to get started. And so really to start out, you know, nursing, like Ashley said earlier, it is an amazing profession. And especially here at Mosaic Life Care, that has been the reason that I have stayed here at Mosaic, because there are so many opportunities within the nursing profession to grow your career in so many different ways. But the nice part, especially if you're in high school, there's a lot of opportunities nowadays to get in and start shadowing other areas, whether it be with nursing, radiology, respiratory therapy, any of those areas. We offer a lot of opportunities for high school students, even college level students to come in and shadow just to get your foot in the door and see if it's something that would interest you. And then I'll let Ashley just kind of talk again a little bit about her career path and how she ended up as a nurse, and then I can go back through mine as well.
Sounds good.
So as I said earlier, I kind of told you my story on how I became a nurse. I've been at Mosaic Life Care for almost 14 years now. I worked at the bedside the majority of that time. And to talk a little bit more about growth, is I was a bedside nurse for 13 and a half years. And I recently kind of transitioned into an associate director position on the same unit that I've always been on. That's my home. I love it there. And so I think there's lots of growth that can happen within nursing, and that's definitely what I've been doing. And it's a wonderful career. Healthcare is a wonderful thing that you can make the most of.
Yeah. And that's the really cool thing. A lot of the things that you're doing in high school are translatable into the healthcare field. You know, growing up in high school, I loved being on committees, and I loved the idea of bringing new ideas and helping just elevate everything at the school, even whether it was through sports or cheerleading or debate team. All of these teams that I worked on, we were always working on a project that would help make the organization better. And in healthcare, you get to do the same thing as a nurse. It's very translatable. So whenever I started out as a nurse, I actually started on our cardiovascular thoracic unit. And I started out taking care of our post-open heart patients. So these are patients that have had some sort of, heart attack or something of that, and they actually had to have surgery done to correct that abnormality. Well, then they would come up to our floor the day after surgery. And it was a very sensitive time for those patients. They are on a lot of medications, a lot of drips, and there's a lot of protocols that you have to follow. But there's also, with these patients, a lot of research and development that's out there. And so it's really nice taking care of those patients, because at the end of the day, I always felt like, man, that was awesome. Like, I managed that patient. I was able to keep them stable all day. And as I began to progress in my career, I was reading the research out there and seeing what other opportunities were available to help take better care of patients. And so I essentially started doing the same things I was doing in high school. I started promoting these ideas to my leadership. And that is the most amazing part about Mosaic, is that our leadership really listens to our frontline caregivers, and they listen to the ideas we have, be that they're crazy or not. They're going to listen, and they put action behind those ideas for us here, which is really neat, because then as a nurse, you're getting to innovate from the bedside level, which is really cool to help improve patient outcomes. So that is my favorite thing about Mosaic, is that, our overall just committee status. We have what's called a shared governance council as well. Do you want to speak to how shared governance has worked on your unit and some of the things you guys utilize that for?
So the shared governance has nurses from different units that are able to work together to improve how things work on the units and how we take care of patients. And I know that as it's begun, they've had several meetings now, and they've really been able to speak to what would make their job better, what would make their life better at work. And I think it's been fantastic. I think it's really given nurses and PCAs and everybody a voice. And it seems to really be making a difference on every unit, I think.
And that's also the really cool thing. You can start as a PCA and come in and begin to have your voice heard right away. If you're noticing things on the unit or things that you would like to adjust or change, you know, we have leadership here that is very integrated and involved in our care, and they listen, and it's amazing.
That's great. And you know, that actually ties into a question we have coming in. So right now, I believe we have Catherine Bentley, who's going to go live and ask a question. Catherine, are you there?
Hi.
Hi, Catherine.
Sign me in as a panelist. All right. So I'm coming from Hazelwood Central High School in like the St. Louis area, and I have a student who'd like to know how much schooling you need in order to become a registered nurse.
Most definitely. My number one recommendation, you are in high school, you can get started now with those college level courses if they are offered at your school. But you can really, there are programs like the associate's degree programs that you can enter in really straight after high school. But you can actually begin to take those college level courses in high school so that you're already getting a head start into some of those associate degree programs for nursing. And those programs, you can, you know, move through them. There's several stepping stones, like we mentioned. You can start as a CNA. While you work as a CNA, you can qualify for tuition reimbursement and begin the RN program. That RN program takes anywhere from normally around 18 months to get completed. And then after you complete the RN program, or the LPN program, sorry, you can bridge over to an RN program. So you really can become a nurse within a couple years after graduating high school, which is the really cool opportunity that not a lot of high school students know. There's several great associate's degree nursing programs in Northwest Missouri. We have great partnerships with North Central Missouri College is a wonderful one that we recruit from quite frequently. But I would take a look, especially if you're in high school and you're wanting to hit the ground running as a nurse. Take a look at some of those associate's degree programs because you can always bridge over to obtain your bachelor's degree within 2 years.
Fantastic. We have one more question coming in. Hancock Place High School would like to ask a question live. Hancock, if you could go ahead and turn on your video and your microphone and unmute. Good morning. Welcome to Healthcare Career Day.
Hello, my name is Bishop Brady, and I was wondering, what is your typical work schedule as a nurse?
So we offer a lot of flexibility here at Mosaic. Our nurses are able to self-schedule. So you actually get to pick your schedule, what days you want to work. Normal full-time nursing is 3 12s a week. We do, have weekend requirements because a hospital facility is, 24/7. We don't stop, so we have to be here on the weekends as well. But you are able to select the days that you want to work here at Mosaic, which is really nice for your work-life balance. But we also offer things like part-time positions, which would be 2 12s a week. But then there's some nursing positions, like if you move on and, you want an 8 to 5 job, we also employ LPNs in our clinics. And those are going to be more of a Monday through Friday, 8 to 4:30 or 5. And then we have like our urgent cares that you can go work at. And those have very similar clinic type of hours. So there really is a wide range of availability for shifts, which is really conducive to that work-life balance.
Fantastic. We have one more question coming in from Southeast Missouri. Portageville students want to know from Portageville Elementary, how do nurses know what to do at any given time?
You know, we receive a lot of training and we are continual learners. You know, it doesn't stop when you graduate school. I still learn every day, you know, and I know Ashley does too, even in her leadership role. But we still both work on the units and we're still wanting to continue to develop our education every day. It doesn't stop with one profession. There's a lot of advanced certifications that you can attain as a nurse, which is really cool. And so if you get into a specialty and you, let's say you love critical care, there's a critical care specialty that you can obtain as a nurse. And then you can become subject matter experts in that area. So we never stop learning, but there's always room for, you know, those advanced certifications and growth.
That's right. Continuous growth. That's all what it's about. And these students are getting a chance to learn about what you do in your pathways. And thank you so much, Dominique and Ashley, for zooming in from Mosaic Life Care in St. Joseph, Missouri. And thank you for being a strong supporter of Missouri Healthcare Career Day.
No problem. Thank you guys so much.
For having us.
Now, as we move into the second portion of our program for Healthcare Career Day, I want to remind you, if you have any questions, please put them in the Q&A and we'll try to answer your questions as best we can or elevate you to be a panelist so you can go live, unmuting your sound and video to ask your question directly. Today's program wouldn't be made possible without the Missouri Chamber of Commerce, the Missouri Hospital Association, and the Missouri Department of Elementary Education. That is your healthcare team for today, and thank you for being a part of that team. We also have some great supporting sponsors that have been with us from the beginning: Mosaic Life Care, Stevens College, Jefferson College, the Chamber Benefit Plan. Our silver sponsors today are Cox Health, BJC Healthcare, the University of Kansas Health System, MU Healthcare, and Missouri State University. Our bronze sponsors, Columbia College, Lincoln University, and our supporting sponsor, Bothwell Regional Healthcare and University of Central Missouri. Thank you to all our sponsors. Now, we're going to go into the University of Health right now. As Charlie Shields stated at the beginning of our program, there are a wide array of jobs available for young people today. We're going to get to learn about biomedicine at University of Health. Now, myself, I'm not a big fan of blood, but after learning what the University Health team does day in and day out, changed my mind a little bit. Let's see inside University Health in Kansas City.
4, 3, 2.
Welcome to University Health in Kansas City. We are an academic medical center, which means our doctors and nurses teach the healthcare providers and leaders of tomorrow. University Health has 2 acute care hospitals, our main campus in downtown Kansas City and our Lakewood location in eastern Jackson County. Our services also include Kansas City's largest behavioral health program, a Level 1 trauma center, a Level 3 neonatal intensive care unit, and primary care clinics across Jackson County. And nearly 4,500 people are proud to work at University Health, where we provide academic medicine for all. One place where you'll find compassionate care each day is inside the Richard and Annette Block Cancer Center at University Health. If you are interested in a career in hematology, this is where you'll find many exciting opportunities.
My name is Melissa Becker. I am the Senior Director of Oncology, Hematology, and Blood Disorders at University Health. Well, hematology is basically a blood disorder that could be hemophilia, could be iron deficiencies, could be anticoagulation deficiencies or problems, when your blood can't clot or when your blood clots too much.
Anticoagulants are medications that stop blood from clotting too easily. They can break down existing clots or prevent them from forming in the first place. These medications can help stop life-threatening conditions like strokes, heart attacks, and blood clots in the lungs known as pulmonary embolisms.
Mitch Sprecher, I'm a nurse practitioner at University Health, and I work in the anticoagulation department.
Mitch Sprecher plays an important role in the lives of his patients. He meets with them regularly and monitors their blood's ability to clot through tests that measure the time it takes for blood to clot.
Patients that are on anticoagulation, we want their blood to clot slower. And so we have to monitor it to make sure that it's not clotting too slow or not clotting at all. If it's not clotting, then they're at risk for bleeding. If it's clotting too fast, they're at risk for a blood clot, which can have, pretty severe impacts on their health.
Mitch typically sees his patients every few weeks to every few months. Sessions typically last 15 to 20 minutes.
We get to know them personally. It's nice to have that relationship so that they feel comfortable and that they can trust me when they come in to see us.
Just a few more minutes left on that one, okay?
Courtney Shanks also plays an important role in the lives of her patients. As an oncology infusion registered nurse, Courtney provides treatments such as chemotherapy for people with cancer.
Typical day, we see about 40 patients roughly on average in our infusion area. And out of those, I would probably have anywhere, depending on staffing, of 5 to 10 patients. We start IVs, we draw labs, we collaborate with our pharmacy with the medications that we're going to give the patient.
Patients can arrive at the oncology clinic feeling scared or concerned about their prognosis. Chemotherapy sessions can last several hours. That time becomes an opportunity for staff like Courtney to bond with patients and help answer questions, ease concerns, and provide a listening ear.
A lot of the patients come in scared. This is their first time ever dealing with something like this, and so we try to build trust with them, and we definitely build a relationship with them and their family so that they feel comfortable whenever they're here.
At University Health, we always look to attract the next generation interested in healthcare. Our Career Connections program provides a pipeline to future opportunities. The Teacher Externship Program, the first of its kind in the state of Missouri, brings teachers from the classroom into the hospital where they learn about career opportunities for their students.
For whatever reason, a lot of people aren't exposed to healthcare professions. They think, this is all just about being a nurse or a doctor. Well, there's a lot of other jobs out there. They're not only well-paying jobs, but they're very rewarding jobs. Career Connections is designed to build that pipeline of our staff of the future, and that pipeline goes all the way down into elementary schools.
Tony Fletcher is a phlebotomist. Her job is to draw blood from patients.
The blood can tell you basically everything that's going on with your body. That is why the doctors put blood work in, so we can draw the blood and send it down to be tested for whatever test that the doctor may want ran on it. So I just like being able to be part of, helping people get better.
At University Health, our mission is to provide academic medicine for all, regardless of the ability to pay. This mission attracts the brightest minds and the biggest hearts in healthcare.
Helping others is always a beautiful thing.
And if you're part of the next generation thinking about a career in healthcare, our providers offer you this advice.
Just take your time and explore, and don't say no to one thing. You might think, I don't want to do that, but it might be your favorite area that you've ever worked in.
I think opening your mind to as many different avenues as possible is important to keep, a broad perspective on education.
Fantastic. And I see we have live with us the team from University Health that you just saw. Melinda, Mitchell, and Courtney are joining us live from University Health in Kansas City. Thank you, team. Welcome.
Hi, thank you. Good morning, everyone. I'm Melinda Kimmel. I'm the Associate Director of Education at Career Connections. And I want to personally thank each of the 6,000 students and teachers across Missouri for taking time to join us. Our goal is to help each of you get to know more about the great work we do here at University Health, give you a better idea about careers in hematology and oncology, and highlight some of the many opportunities available to you here at University Health as you look beyond high school. University Health is a safety net hospital. That means we do not turn anyone away. Our providers care for those with the best private insurance and those who have no insurance. We're also an academic medical center. We like to say we provide academic medicine for all. We have many exciting career opportunities, both clinical and non-clinical, available for the next generation like you. As you saw in the video, Career Connections is about attracting those who are interested in healthcare. Participants in our Career Pipeline program can receive free education and training, as well as many great exposure to many career paths that can be found in hospitals. You can easily transition from apprentice to employee after completing one of our programs. You just need to be 18 years old and have a high school diploma, GED, or equivalent. A few opportunities we haven't included are medical assistance apprentice, unlicensed assisted personal training programs, certified nursing training programs, and more to come. To learn more about Career Connections, go to our website, universityhealthkc.org. Now I'd like to introduce you to our guest, who you met in the video. Mitchell Sprecher is a senior APRN in the anticoagulation clinic. But first, I'd like to introduce you and start with Courtney Shanks, a registered nurse in our hematology oncology infusion clinic. Courtney, I'd love for you to answer. Can you tell me what drew you to this important work?
I knew at an early age that I wanted to go into working with people when I got older. So I originally started in psychology, and I decided I wanted to work more on the medical side of things. So I just love working with people, and I love the connections and the relationships that you build with them. And it's just a passion of mine.
Yeah. Before working in oncology, you were in labor and delivery, helping deliver babies. Why did you switch from helping new moms to treat patients who are living with cancer?
Again, kind of going back, I have had an interest in oncology even before I went to nursing school. I had a family member that had cancer, and so when I was little, I was like, I want to take care of patients that have cancer. And I just kind of fell in love with labor and delivery in nursing school. So that's kind of where I started. And I loved my time there, but I knew I wanted to move on to something different. So I started floating around to different clinics, and oncology kind of took me under their wing, and I fell in love with the staff there and the patients, and I haven't left. I absolutely love it.
That's beautiful. What advice would you give someone who is interested in healthcare?
I kind of said a little bit in the video, but I would just explore, take your time, looking into what areas you're interested in. When I went into do my clinicals in nursing school, I didn't really, love or hate one thing or another, but I just kept an open mind, and I was like, let me just learn as much as I can from each of these different departments, and you'll just take your time and really explore the different areas that you can go into. There's so much that you can do in the healthcare world.
Thank you for sharing a little bit of your journey.
Hey.
Hi. To anyone who is watching, who's not heard of anticoagulation department like me, can you explain this in simple terms?
Yeah, so basically my job is helping people manage their anticoagulation, which is if someone that you know gets a blood clot, for a short amount of time, they have to be on a medication that helps their body not get further blood clots, but also not have the blood clot get any worse. So I help them manage the medication and make sure that the levels in their body is correct while they're on it.
Thank you. How many patients do you see? How often, and how does your care help them?
Yeah, so typically in a day, I'll see anywhere from 15 to 20 patients a day. And the nature of our clinic, I see my patients a lot more frequently. So I'll see a lot of the patients every 2 weeks, 4 weeks, and up to like 12 weeks. And it's kind of a little bit different than some clinics. And so I get to see my patients a lot more frequently, which helps build, that relationship, and, they can feel like they can trust me in all of the medical decisions.
Really nice.
Yeah.
So can you talk to me about your education path and the advice that you would give anyone concerned about the cost of higher education?
Yeah, I think that's a really important discussion, because I think college can be very overwhelming as far as costs and, how to go about financing that. So I got my doctorate degree in nursing, but I worked at a hospital while I did that, and they were actually able to pay the cost of tuition for me. which a lot of hospitals have programs that will pay for your degree as you work there. And so, there's so many options. You can go to a 2-year program, a bachelor's degree, which is a 4-year program, or you can, just start, as a CNA and work in a hospital, and then have, hopefully they have a program that they can help pay for some of your tuition. And I think that's a great option to help with the cost of college as it increases.
Thanks for sharing about that journey. So Mitch and Courtney, thank you both for your time, your talent, your expertise today. And if you want to see firsthand what it's like to work inside a hospital, we make it possible through Career Connections for teachers to go with our team, bringing high school students to University Health for tours and other virtual opportunities. Again, you can go and visit universityhealthkc.org. And now we're going to send it back to Ryan.
Okay. Hey, thanks so much, team. We have some questions coming in now, and we'll go to Portageville, I believe, is ready to go live with a question. Portageville, if you can unmute your mic and your video. Okay, sounds like they're having some technical difficulties down in southeast Missouri. We have another question that came in. Wright City Hosa asks, how do you help patients with their overall fears of testing and the devastation of the diseases they encounter? Good question.
Who wants to take that?
Yeah, I think the most important thing to help patients cope with a lot of the reasons they're in the hospital is just education. Providing them with the resources that they can learn more about everything themselves, but also, giving them education while they're here so that they can feel empowered to make decisions about their healthcare, while they're here.
Great. We have that's a great answer. Thank you. We have one more, and this really gets into how much school do phlebotomists have to go through?
How much school phlebotomists have to go through?
Yes.
I'm not sure. I think there's local programs.
Oh, sorry. It's so there's training for phlebotomists where it's an 8 to 10 day program. So it is a very quick training program, and you get that hands-on experience and are able to be working in a healthcare facility.
So one other question came through. St. Louis Public Schools asked, what is the most rewarding aspect of your job?
For me, the most rewarding is just working with my patients and having the relationship and the connection with them, and just seeing the happy moments. Oncology can be difficult, for anybody to go through, and just having the little successes along the way and being there for those moments. I just love the connection that we have with our patients.
Fantastic.
Yeah, for me, there's a lot of different ways that you can help people, and whether that's using the education that you've learned throughout your training, or just by listening to a patient. A lot of times, patients just want to be heard, and you can help them in that way too. So I think it's important that, for me too, to be able to help in multiple ways.
Fantastic. We actually have Portageville coming in. It looks like they can unmute their sound and video. We're going to try this again. They really want to ask their question. Oh, feedback there. Hi.
Hi. What was the hardest part of going to school?
Ooh, good question, Portageville.
Yeah.
For me, the hardest part is just juggling all of the classes that you're taking all at once, but just learning how to study. That's going to be beneficial for you, and knowing how your study style is and how you learn best is going to make you the most successful in school.
Any advice from you, Mitchell or Melinda, on that one?
Yeah,
Not as good a student as Courtney there, huh?
applying what you're learning in the classroom to like a clinical situation. It's easy to read about, healthcare, medicine, nursing in a textbook, and sometimes it's not always the same when you go into a clinical situation. So just being able to apply it to practical situations, I think is sometimes challenging, but I think it's also rewarding to learn in the classroom and then go into a hospital or a clinic and apply what you learned. It's a rewarding process.
Fantastic. Great. We have time for one more question, and then we're going to go ahead and zoom on out. How important is patient and caregiver relationships to the overall experience? Came in from a student out there.
It's very important. I would say that's almost the #1 thing besides educating your patient on why they're there and, all that. I think it's the most important thing is to have that relationship with them, because that builds the trust with them, and it makes them feel more comfortable and willing to come back. I think it's very important.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that trust and relationship building is one of the most important things we can do for our patients, because we can have all the knowledge and all the right answers as far as medicine goes, but if our patients don't trust us, they're not going to want to follow through, and they're not going to want to act on some of the advice that we're giving. So we really need to build those relationships, which is a rewarding process, I think.
Yeah, I think, that came through on the video segment for you, Mitchell, with your patient that you're working with right there. So really that community, that relationship building, and it was said by Ashley White earlier, compassion. Having that compassion for the patients that you're dealing with, a key component to anybody in the healthcare profession. So we're going to go ahead and zoom on out. Thank you so much, University of Health, for joining us today and making Healthcare Career 2023 a success.
Thank you. Have a great day.
All right, some great questions by students from around the state of Missouri and even out of state. So if you're watching, please put your Q&A in the Q&A box so we can answer those live if we can. And remember, if we do go to you live and message back and forth, please make sure that you unmute your volume and your video when we go live. So one of the best questions we may have today is just, what is the world of nursing and how do I get involved with that? And we're going to talk about that in a little bit and more in depth. I'm excited to bring back for this second year's program, St. Luke's Healthcare System. If you're obsessed with cleanliness and have a strong stomach and have a good hand-eye coordination, you might be cut out for work as a surgical technician or an instrument sterilization technician. Let's zoom in to St. Luke's to see what this world looks like.
Welcome to St. Luke's, a health system with 16 hospitals and campuses and more than 200 specialty and primary care practices. Today, we're taking you behind the scenes and we'll show you a couple of unique career opportunities in healthcare. We'll even get the chance to hear from a couple of St. Luke's team members. So, do you know how many people it takes to operate a system like St. Luke's? Impressive, isn't it? And it's not all nurses and doctors. From surgical support to cafeteria staff to housekeeping, security, and lab technicians, there are rewarding opportunities for everyone. Join me today as we meet two hardworking team members. Our first stop is a place where germs stand no chance, sterile processing. Let's go meet Bree. Hi, Brianna. Hey, we're here to learn all about what it is that you do for St. Luke's. Can you tell me a little bit about your job?
Well, I'm a sterile processing tech here at St. Luke's in the OR. Sterile processing techs, we get all the dirty instruments from surgery. So you can't, we can't be like going back and forth. Everything goes one way. So dirty, clean, storage. We get to clean them, disassemble them, inspect them, make sure nothing got broken, and we sterilize them for the next surgeries. We are in decontamination area, whatever you want to call it. So we've got several stations. We've got Sink 1, Station 2, and then we've got another couple sink stations over there in the corner. And this is the ultrasonic machine. It's pretty cool.
So looking around this room, there's so many different types of tools. I imagine you learn about all the different types of surgery.
Yes, it's constantly learning new things, constantly getting new updated instruments in. It's a lot. Sharp rakes or Volkmann rake retractors, external saw, Kelly's, lots of needle holders, and a lot of scissors, of course. Some of them are really, really tiny and cute.
So why did you choose this career?
I knew I wanted to go into healthcare and I knew I wanted to help people, but I wasn't sure that I wanted that one-on-one patient contact all the time. So this was a great option for me to just get my foot in the door, get into the hospital setting and, you know, really figure out what I want to do.
So what kind of certification did you have to get to where you are today?
So you do have to be certified, sterile processing tech certification. You can do it a couple different ways. You can do a course through like a community college, or a really popular option is if you're already working or you get hired on but not certified yet, you can get 400 work hours and then you're eligible to take the test.
So with all the different tools in this huge room, how do you keep track of everything?
Everything is organized by specialty. Every set has a tag on it and we scan it. And a count sheet comes up on our computer, and that's the way we make sure every single thing on that count sheet is in our sets.
Well, Brianna, thanks so much for showing us around here.
Yeah, no problem.
Now let's go meet one of these experts who takes care of these tools before they get to breed. Let's go meet Angela.
Most of our instrument trays are about 25 pounds. So you get a workout.
Okay, and now what is a surgical tech? For somebody who's watching, what do you do?
A surgical scrub tech is the right hand of the surgeon. You'll be the one passing the instruments. You'll be doing everything they need you to do.
So you're very involved in the surgery. You're right in there.
Very involved. Your eyes need to be here. Your eyes need to be over there. You need to be listening because they may ask you for 2 or 3 things and you gotta be able to prioritize what's important that they need first. First scrub of the day should be at least 3 to 5 minutes. And then I rinse off.
There's so many different things going on in an OR and so many people. Why is communication so important?
Communication is very important because if they ask you for something, it's for the patient, but if you're not paying attention and you give the wrong amount, or to give the wrong instrument, you can cause harm. So you need to be listening, you need to double check and say, did you say so-and-so? The surgeon says yes, or if anesthesia says, I need help, and you as a scrub, you need to be ready to do whatever they ask you to do. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. I gotta count with my circulator before I put any instruments up, because everything's supposed to be done before the patient comes into the room. 2, 6.
How important is preparation for each surgery for you?
It's very important. I'm anal. I like having all my stuff. I need to know what I got, what I don't have. And if I'm missing something, I'll tell the surgeon before we get started, hey, I don't have this. What else can we use?
Tell me about just why this role is just so important.
Because you're changing a life, you're saving a life. Every surgery is important. Every surgery is big. Whether it's small or huge, it's big to the patient, it's big to us.
And why do you love your job?
Because I see people come in a bad state, and what I do to help the surgeon make them much better when they leave, they're in a better state.
Well, thanks so much, Angela, for showing us around.
You're welcome, my pleasure.
Hemostat, she's fast. Thank you so much for visiting St. Luke's today. Kansas City is such an exciting place to work and live, and we're so fortunate to care for such a great community. We hope to see you one day in the healthcare field, maybe even here at St. Luke's. There's no better place than right here.
This is St. Luke's, a healthcare system made up of diverse and dedicated professionals who unite for one vision: to provide the best care to our patients and communities. We position our team to achieve excellence. This is where we save lives, treat people with compassion, and fill hearts with hope. It's here where creativity meets technology, where diversity meets collaboration, where resilience meets community. It's all here at St. Luke's, the intersection of innovation and hope.
Fantastic. Boy, what a great story, and get a chance to see inside the world of surgical tech and sterilization. Angela and Brianne, it's so great to see you guys. Can you unmute your volume so we can hear you?
Hey. Hi.
Hey, welcome back. Healthcare 2023.
Thank you.
Well, we'd love to hear a little bit more about what you do day in and day out, and then we're going to go right into some questions.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, I'll go first. So I'm a sterilization tech, sterile processing technician. So like it said in the video, we prep all the instruments and sterilize them for surgeries. And if there are any instruments that surgeons want to order, we make sure we get those. And so they'll have them. And yeah, so depending on where you work, since St. Luke's is a pretty big hospital system, we kind of have a rotation where you could be working in decon, the decontamination area, for one day or like half your day or whatever, and then maybe the next you'll be on the clean side in prep and pack area. So it's kind of nice, you get to do everything, but you get to mix it up. I really like that. I'm Angela. I'm a surgical scrub tech here at St. Luke's. I perform many various skill sets and job capacities. I'm primarily a lead scrub for GYN. I also work in ENT quite a bit. I am the surgeon's pretty much right hand outside of the resident. I'm making sure they have the proper instruments and equipment to start the case and perform throughout the surgery. I listen to a lot of people, so your ears have to be open and your eyes have to be ready, and you just have to know what you need to get the case going for the day.
Sounds like you're very detailed oriented, Angela.
I have to be detailed oriented. I hate to say that, but I have to be. I've got too many people ask me for things, and if I don't have what I need, it can make or break a day.
Understandable.
Anticipation is key.
Well, we have some questions coming in live. So right now we have a quick question from Fulton High School asks, how much communication for surgical techs have with their patients? Good question, Fulton.
Well, it's minimal. For me, I always introduce myself to the patient when they come in. I say my name and tell them that I'm working with whatever surgeon it is and that we will take good care of them, and just let them know you, just to ease them. So you have maybe like 2 or 3 minutes to let them know that you're there for them.
And then it's time to go under, huh?
Absolutely. Anesthesia takes over.
Well, we have a middle school, I believe, coming in from Camden, Missouri. So if Camden, Missouri is coming in, if you go ahead and unmute your sound. Hey, there you are, Camden.
Oh, what would happen why do you have to wear the hairnets?
We have to keep our hair covered so that our hair does not fall into the field, so that there is a sterile perimeter in the field, because once you're up near the patient, it's all sterile. What's behind you, on the side of you, is sterile. So everything has to be covered. We even have to wear masks. We don't have them on right now because we're doing the video, so you can see our faces. But everybody wears masks and hats and gloves.
You scrub in just like a surgeon, correct? I mean, you take the same procedural process. Yeah.
Same process. Wash our hands, go in, gown up, glove up.
Excellent. Nice question, Camden. We have another question coming in. I believe we have Gabriel Kurak, who is going to be promoted. If you can go ahead and move up into a panelist and then unmute your volume and your video and ask Angela and Brianna your question. I think Gabriel. Can you go ahead and unmute Gabrielle? Hello.
Hi. My name's Ash Kirok, and I'm from Van Horn High School. I was wondering...
Can you turn your volume down on your computer? Okay, go ahead and ask your question.
I was wondering what type of schooling it took to become a surgical technician and how long it takes.
Great question.
That's an excellent question. And you know, right now our scrub sterile processing tech Brianna is in scrub school right now, so I'm gonna let her answer that for you. Go right ahead.
Right now I'm doing the course at Penn Valley here in Kansas City, and so with you have to do a bunch of prereqs, of course. You know, you get your sciences, you get your microbiology, chemistry, anatomy and physiology, all those prerequisites done before you are eligible to be accepted into the surgical tech program. But once you are, it is fast. It is so quick. It's a little under a year program. So we did a summer semester, a fall, and then a spring semester, and I will graduate in May.
Woohoo!
So it is, once you get in, it's quick, very quick.
Excellent, excellent. Well, it looks like we have another question coming in. And let's see. Student Shayla Terry asks, what is the most difficult surgery to prep for? Good question.
Okay. Ooh. That's kind of hard to say. That's really kind of hard to say. Well, I mean, eyes are difficult to prep for. Ears, because you don't want to get all the solution inside the ear. You usually have to put a cotton ball in there, and if the surgeon says, go ahead and irrigate it out before he gets in there, you can do that, but you need to be very gentle when you do that. Abdomens, bellies are good. Limbs, if they're broken, they can be challenging because you might have a bone sticking out and you got to maintain holding it in the position so that you don't do more harm before the procedure takes place.
There's a lot of trays.
There's a lot of trays. There's a lot of prepping that is required to get the case going. So the circulators are the ones who pretty much prep the patients, but in some instances, you as a scrub may have to stand in and hold a limb until the surgeon gets in there on the sterile part after they've been prepped. So it depends on what we're doing.
Wow, that's excellent. Hey, one other question came in from a student out there. Wanted to know what is, how many hours do you work in a week, typically on surgery?
I am a 8-hour girl. I work 5 days a week, 8 hours. However, there are days that I might work 10. There are days I might work 12. In a week, I could easily have 50 to 60 hours.
And there's a lot of options for different shifts too, you know, so some people do like working 12-hour shifts, and usually if that's full-time, you just do 3 days a week, and you can always pick up extra, you know, if that's allowed.
There are 10-hour days, it's 4 days a week, but you still can pick it up.
Yeah, so lots of options, and some even part-time if you're not full-time. So you can, like I do 12-hour shifts on the weekends, Saturday, Sunday, so I can go to school during the week, which is really helpful.
And there are some people that love nights and they work 12-hour nights, 3 days a week.
That would not be for me.
That would not. Right, no.
Well, any
I
last?
like my days. I'm sorry.
Any last good words of wisdom to somebody that's looking into sterilization?
I think so. For me, you can tell me if you think this also. Since I started out as a sterile processing tech, it has given me a amazing advantage going to school after that, going to school for sterile processing, not sterile processing, surgical tech, or even if you were interested in being maybe an OR nurse as well, sterile processing would be a great way in there and to get a good foundation and knowledge of surgery and instruments and just, great way to get your foot in the door and try different career paths. So
I agree wholeheartedly. Also, with that being said, if you're not in, by all means, reach out to the director or the supervisor and ask to shadow. So that way you can get in and see if this is what you want to do. You may not want to be a nurse that you thought you might want to be. You might want to do scrub tech. You might want to do instrumentation, sterile processing. Or you might want to just be in turnover.
Materials.
Or material setups and making sure we have our supplies that's necessary. There's so many avenues here in the surgery department that you can learn from, you can grow in, a lot of knowledge, a lot of wealth.
Great. Good points, and thank you so much for joining us today, Brianna and Angela. It's great to see you guys again, and thank you for sharing what you do at St. Luke's.
Thank you so much for having us.
All right, have a great day.
All right, you too.
Now, with over 30,000 dedicated professionals, BJC Healthcare provides a great atmosphere to work in a variety of different occupations. Let's see what they offer nurses when they want to go work for BJC Healthcare.
There are moments in history where we must come together to fight something bigger than us. As a BJC nurse, you will belong to a world-class care community dedicated to winning that fight. Through innovation, compassion, and professional development. For a stronger nursing career, start your path at BJC. You belong here.
Thank you for joining us for Healthcare Career Day 2023. We're excited to have you. We have students from all across the state and really all across the country, from Ohio to Georgia, Kentucky, and even California. Thank you for joining us for Healthcare Career Day. So as we move into our next segment at SSM Health, if you have any questions, please put your Q&A in the Q&A box so we can get to those. Our tech team may even contact you to go live and ask your question to our professional healthcare heroes in the room. As we just saw a little bit behind the scenes with surgical tech and sterilization, now we're going to go to SSM Health to see firsthand how medical surgery nursing provides critical care in all sorts of situations in the surgical rooms. Let's go inside SSM Health.
Huddle at the front hub. Hi, I'm Allison, nurse manager at St. Louis University Hospital on 5 South. Good morning, everyone. I did want to give kudos to Florence, Joe, Aaron C., Tabitha, and Sylvia. A patient gave them a shout out and said I would recommend this hospital because of the service that was provided and how smoothly my surgery went. Any questions, comments, concerns about anything? Okay, that's all I have. Thank you. Good morning. This is Kaylin. She's going to be your nurse today. She will go to surgery at noon. Do you have any questions about your care today?
No, you've been wonderful. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. You're in great hands with Kaylin.
Hi, I'm Kaylin. I've been a nurse at SLU for a little over a year. I was actually a care partner here for a year before that as well, so I've been on the same floor for 2 years. SSM Health is in 4 different states, has 23 hospitals, and over 40,000 employees. Some of my responsibilities as a nurse are assessing my patient, monitoring for changes, administering medications, keeping them safe, and promote healing. After I graduated from college, I was in some online classes, had a few days of classroom training, and then I was on the floor with a preceptor for 10 weeks until I was comfortable enough being on my own. So there's a few things I love about my job. The first one is the relationships I've been able to build with my coworkers and my patients. We have a very diverse population here at SLU, and you get to learn a lot about different people and the backgrounds they come from. I love being able to be a light in someone's really hard time and being able to help them through that. Hey Kayla. This is my friend Rhea.
Hi, I'm Rhea. I've been a nurse for 7 months here at SLU Hospital. I went to Gold Farm Nursing School and I'm a new grad.
So Rhea, what do you like about being a nurse here?
Honestly, I love working night shift. Everyone here is just amazing, and the culture is amazing as well.
Yeah, the teamwork is indescribable. The way we all are so eager to help each other makes a huge difference. We all have been learning and growing together, and we all became really close friends too.
I agree. Even the teamwork with the doctors, respiratory, phlebotomy, the care partners, and as well as the nurses is amazing here.
For sure. Gotta go.
Working on MedSurg is taking care of 4 to 5 patients for 12 hours. I monitor them, evaluate them, pass medications, work with different team members like doctors and respiratory. It's very hands-on. There are so many opportunities in nursing to grow as a leader and as a nurse. You could precept and orient, become a charge nurse, a manager, or even move floors and specialties in nursing. Hi, this is my friend and coworker.
Hi, my name is Casey. I've been a nurse here at SLU for 3 years.
So what made you want to be a nurse?
I wanted to be a nurse because I wanted to help take care of people and just make a difference in people's lives.
I agree. Patient care is so amazing, and it's so fun taking care of people and then helping them and seeing them get better.
I chose SSM Health as a career path because I knew there was a lot of room for advancement and I would be working with some of the best nurses and doctors in the area. One of the most important things you can do as a nurse is advocate for your patient. Communicate with your patient and listen to them, and then express their needs to the care partners and the doctors so that they get the care they need.
St. Louis University Hospital is a 356-bed academic level 1 trauma center. We take care of the sickest of the sick. We are a big hospital with a small town feel. As a high school student, I think it's really important to get involved with SSM Health's shadowing and volunteer opportunities.
And now joining us live from SSM Health is Sam Kohler, Clinical Director. Sam, welcome to the program.
Thank you so much, Brian, for having me today. I'm so excited to talk about SSM Health and all of the opportunities that we have here.
Excellent. Well, I'll let you have the operating room floor, and then we do have some questions coming in right now.
Perfect. Well, I just want to once again thank everyone for participating today. It's really great to see all the interest that's here in healthcare in the Missouri region. SSM Health is a Catholic non-for-profit organization, and we work to make sure that we make a change in our community daily. We were founded by several Sisters of St. Mary, and they actually came into the St. Louis region to start caring for smallpox. And they were the only ones that were willing to do that care. And that is the same mission that drives us every day to continue to provide care to those that others will not. And so we work very diligently to kind of hold those values of the sisters and do that in our work every day. In the med-surg nursing profession, some may not be familiar with the types of patients that they take care of. So they take care of pre-surgical patients, so before they go to surgery, post-surgical patients after they go to surgery, as well as other disease processes, so respiratory infections, kidney disease, and they get to take care of that entire gamut of patients. And so it's a really great place to lay that foundation if nursing is an area of interest for you, because they will be the best nurses in the hospital because they deal with so many different types of patients daily. No day is the same. Every day is different. And that's what's really exciting about this space.
Excellent, Sam. And we actually have some students coming in now. I believe Fulton High School, the Hornets are flying in as we speak. And so if you could go ahead, Fulton High School, unmute your video and your sound, and you'll go live to ask Sam a question. Hi.
Hi. Hey, so we actually have several kids over here. You can't really see them, but we wanted to know, what is a level 1 trauma center? What is a normal nurse schedule like at SSM, and the favorite part of a nurse's job?
Great questions, Fulton.
So a level 1 trauma center means that we are able to take care of patients after a certain type of event. In a level 1 trauma, they can take care of major motor vehicle accidents, things along those lines that cause multiple traumas to the body. In those settings, you need to be able to act very quickly. You need to have certain items available to you right away in order to save that patient's life. And so a level 1 trauma center means that EMS will bypass other facilities to bring us the most critical patients because we have the equipment and the ability to care for those sickest of the sick. When it comes to, nursing, what that regular schedule looks like, it can change depending on what department you're in. For the most part, most nurses work that 3 12-hour shifts, usually a 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. or a 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. But we do have multiple departments who also work clinic type hours of that 8 to 5. And we always offer, flexibility in that scheduling. SSM actually has several positions that are highlighted as a flexible option. And so they do have the ability to do 4-hour shifts, 8-hour shifts, 12-hour shifts, full-time hours, part-time hours, as well as PRN hours too. We actually have an externship that's for our students that we know are in nursing school, because nursing school can be kind of complex in scheduling. And so we wanted to have a position available that was incredibly flexible, but also allowed those nursing students to get that time in the hospital and still be able to, gain some of that knowledge without putting an extra stressor on their schedule. So we have multiple options here for that. I think the most rewarding part of nursing altogether is just being able to see that what you do daily makes an impact for someone else. None of us get into nursing for the money, for the schedule, or anything along those lines. We get into nursing because we want to care for people. It is a very rewarding place. And there's a phrase we like to use where it fills your cup, per se. And so every day you come in, you are able to kind of walk out with a sense of pride, knowing that you made an impact on somebody's life.
Right, is that you made a difference in somebody's life and you made their life a little bit better by your encounter with them. So, Sam, we have more questions coming in. Great questions, Fulton High School. Emily with William Chrisman in Independence, Missouri has a question. Does a midwife have to know anything regarding surgical nursing?
Yes. So a midwife works in our labor and delivery area. And they do need to be knowledgeable about those GYN cases. And so they do get that through their training, but that is a very important aspect.
Excellent. Thanks, Emily, for asking that question. We have another question that came in from a student, anonymous. How do you promote healing to patients? Good question. And what helped you advance in your career?
Sure, great question. So promoting healing to patients, it actually starts outside of the hospital. And that's why SSM has been such a great place to work, because we go out into the community. We help meet needs at that community level. Part of bringing someone to wellness is stopping them from coming to a hospital, being able to provide them care in a space that prevents them from ever having to need a nurse to be at their bedside daily. And so we do that through teaching, especially in the nursing profession. There's a lot of education that goes into that, teaching them how to take their medications on time, teaching them what nutritious foods are and how to care for their disease processes. So it's incredibly important as a nurse to use that tool of education with our patients and also be out in the communities providing that education.
Fantastic. We have a couple more questions coming in. Actually, Tori from Versailles High School asked, does SSM Health use registered nurses out of state like they use nurses in state? Getting at the travel nurse question. Good question, Tori.
That is a great question. So SSM does use travel nursing to help fill some of our staffing needs. SSM also offers a travel nursing option within SSM. We refer to it as a PRN4 position. And so it is a contract that you sign saying that you'll be working a certain amount of hours during a certain time, but you don't necessarily have to leave your local area in order to do it. And so that is an option that's available with SSM Health.
Fantastic. We have one more question. This comes in from an elementary school. Why are your scrubs black or dark blue?
That is a good question. So our scrubs are navy blue for nurses. And what that does is it helps in the hospital for our patients. The reason that all the nurses wear navy blue, all of our imaging spaces wear black, all of our clinical partners or our nurse aides wear a gray color, and that helps the patients identify who we are. They're going to have multiple people coming in their room providing care to them, and it's a good way for our patients to kind of have an understanding of what is this person's role that's here at my bedside. And so it helps to identify us quickly. It also helps in an emergency situation when you have a patient who's not doing well and you have a lot of people that need to come into the room quickly to help provide that care. The color really helps you quickly identify who you need to give direction to and who needs to be doing what in that moment.
Yeah, fantastic. Good question. One more question. Ashley, one of our high school, looks like a college student, asked how many hours would a travel nurse normally work? Good question.
Yeah, so travel nursing actually works off of contracts. And so a travel nurse has to work that into their contract. So some contracts say 36 hours, which is your 3 12-hour shifts. Some contracts say 40 hours. Some say 48 hours. So it really depends on the company that you're working with for travel. With the SSM travel option, that PRN4 option, that is all negotiable in the contract. And so historically, most work at least the full-time hours, which for nursing is that 36 hours, but they can sign up for beyond that, but that all gets negotiated in the contract.
Fantastic. And one last question. Camden Middle School asked again, how many color scrubs are there?
Goodness, there's a lot.
Color of the rainbow, I would say.
There is. We have a color for just about everything you could think of. And so, you know, depending on what department you're in would dictate what color scrubs you wear. Now, we do have a pediatric facility at Cardinal Glennon in the St. Louis area. And at Cardinal Glennon, for the kids, you know, we can run the whole gamut of the rainbow just to keep things fun and exciting for the kids.
Fantastic. Well, Sam, thank you so much for joining us live from SSM Health, and thank you to the entire team there at SSM Health for keeping us safe and healthy.
Thank you so much.
Now we're going to move on to our next part of the program. And if you're just joining us live, please put your name in the Q&A box, ask your questions. Our tech team may reach out to you and promote you to ask it live, unmuting your volume and your video. So today would not be possible without the partnership. Missouri Department of Elementary and Secondary Education, the Missouri Hospital Association, and the Missouri Chamber of Commerce and Industry are bringing this program to you across the state of Missouri and across the nation, with over 17 states that have registered to take part in the program. It would also not be possible without our sponsors. Our gold sponsor, Mosaic Life Care, Jefferson College, Stevens College and the Chamber Benefit Plan. Our silver sponsors, Cox Health, BJC Healthcare, the University of Kansas Health System, MU Healthcare, and Missouri State University, as well as our bronze sponsors, Columbia College, Lincoln University, and our supporting level sponsor, Bothwell Regional Health Center and University of Central Missouri. Thank you to all our sponsors and our partners that have made this program. Now we're flying by. We've gone through quite a bit in just the short time we've been together, but we have so much more that we're going to get into in the next couple hours. In fact, one thing I'd like to do is shout out, we have schools from across the country. In Georgia, we have Whitfield and North Clayton High School zooming in today. From Kansas, Blue Valley Center for CAPS and the Kansas City Public Schools are zooming in. From Ohio, we have MCC-TC, the Kettering Fairmont School, and C-Tech. Many, many more. As well as from Texas, Alfling, Hastings High School, Oak Ridge High School, and Westlake. And from Missouri, we've seen it from Fulton to Farmington, from Blue Springs South to Portageville, and even Smith Cotton High School in Sedalia and Hazelwood in St. Louis. From across the state, you're zooming in and asking questions to the healthcare heroes that we have here today. Thank you for joining us. It is a pleasure to bring this program to you. We hope you get a lot out of it. Now, we're going to go into Citizens Memorial Hospital. As healthcare grows more and more complex each day, technology is becoming more and more a part of the diagnosis and treatment of health issues. You may not care for blood like me, but you may be tech savvy. And tech savvy people have a place in healthcare. There are some great occupations and opportunities. Let's go look in the world of imaging, diagnostics, and radiology.
Initially, I wanted to be a nurse. I decided that healthcare was where I wanted to be because I wanted to help people. And then got a little more into my major and realized radiology was more where I aligned with. So I chose radiology as my major in college and started radiology school and realized that the imaging aspect of it is really interesting. We see new stuff every day. It changes every day. My name's Jessica. I've worked with CMH since 2011. I've been a registered radiologic technologist since 2011 and registered as a computed tomography technologist since 2014.
In radiology, there's quite a few options for different modalities. I started in radiology as an X-ray tech, which is generally how people get into the field. Once you become an X-ray tech, you have some options to branch into other modalities, to either cross-train or go to specialty schools. My name's Christy. I'm a registered diagnostic medical sonographer. I'm registered in abdomen, OB, and GYN, and also registered vascular tech. I'm also a registered X-ray tech. I started in radiology in 2007, worked for about 4 years as an X-ray tech, and then the last 12 I've been an ultrasound tech.
Honestly, I chose X-ray because every day is kind of like a puzzle. So you'll get patients that, let's say one comes in through the ER with a broken arm. You have to get the best views possible with what the patient can do. So you have to think outside the box, what's going to help the patient and the doc help them get better. My name is Ben French. I am a radiology tech at CMH. I've been doing X-ray since 2019.
MRI uses your body and radio waves and a big magnet to take pictures. We can image any part of the body. They average about 20 minutes. And they're very detailed pictures and can help the doctor diagnose the problems. My name is Amber and I am an MRI technologist at CMH. I've been registered in radiology and MRI since 2000.
My typical day is going to change depending on the day. So I could have a day where I'm just doing a bunch of portables. I could have a day where I have fluoro cases, where I have surgery cases. Honestly, it just depends because, I mean, even with portables or inpatients, I go all over the hospital.
So a typical day for a sonographer, we're going to review patients' history, look at any prior imaging they have before we get them for their appointment, any pertinent information in their medical record that we need to check into, and then we scan the patient, take images. When we're done with that, we also write a report for the radiologist that just gives our impression of what we saw during our scan. We know any major abnormalities or anything that we want the radiologist to pay special attention to.
I work at the hospital and the outpatient imaging center. We do several MRIs a day, taking either inpatient or ER and outpatient. We just take pictures and diagnose with our images, and we're very busy. We have several patients a day, and we have scanners at both facilities, here at the Douglas Building and the hospital.
Most days I'm doing a full schedule of CTs, which involves 25 to 30 a day, depending on how busy we are. We do a lot of contrast studies, so we start IVs, do contrast injections, and then do the CT scans. And then we'll discharge the patient, take the IVs out, and send them on their way to get the results of their doctor. I like that it changes every day. I see something new every day. You know, the human body is different for everybody, so the anatomy can even be different, and it's just really interesting to see the insides, to see what's happening in there and get patients' diagnosis.
I like radiology. I like to help people. I think imaging is very important. I know that people, when they come in, they're hurting and they have problems, and it's hard for them to do, but I like to help them find the problem. Even I don't want people to have a problem, but we can help find the problem, help it get a resolution with their symptoms.
So I choose to stay in this field because of the people. I've had other jobs to where, even in, let's say in retail, where it's supposed to be people-oriented, this one is more satisfying to help people out.
So one of the things I love about radiology at CMH is my coworkers. My coworkers are my family, we're very close. Radiology is typically a pretty small department. Even in bigger hospitals, it's a fairly small department, so you get to know your coworkers very well. So we are kind of just a family here, and it's very close-knit here. I also really like the fact that I'm always learning. Even after 12 years of doing ultrasound, I still see new things. I still see things I don't recognize, and I can go talk with my radiologist on it. So I'm learning every day.
Fantastic. I've always been intrigued by the world of imaging radiology, and live with us for CMH is Gayla Hankins, Director of Radiology, and Robert. Robert, welcome, and Gayla, welcome.
Good morning, good afternoon.
Well, if you kind of just go a little bit more in depth on imaging and what you like about your job, and then we'll open it up for some Q&A. We got questions coming in from around the state and around the country.
I'm going to hand it off to Ms. Gayla as Director of Radiology. I work in human resources, and we're glad to field any questions about that.
Thank you. Like I said, my name is Gayla Hankins. I am the Director of Radiology. I got my first job in radiology in 1988, so I've been doing imaging for a really long time. Most of my career, I was on the education side of it, and then in 2011, I made the move to CMH and became the Director of Radiology here. As you can see on the video, imaging covers a lot of different areas. You've got your X-ray, CT, MRI, mammography, and nuclear medicine. We didn't really get into in the video, but those are also parts of imaging, and as well as ultrasound, which you saw. Most people start out in X-ray. They go through the training to become a registered X-ray technologist, and then they move on to additional training for CT, MRI, ultrasound, whatever they choose to go into next. Some areas like ultrasound and nuclear medicine, you can do a direct path and not go through the radiology tech program first. So it kind of just depends on how sure people are what they want to do. In radiology, we do everything: emergency room patients, outpatients. Here we do a lot of work with cancer patients. So there's just a wide variety of patients and different things that we see in a day, no matter which modality you're involved in.
We'll go ahead to go to Autumn. Is Autumn there? We can go ahead and pull up Autumn to ask her question. Oh, hello.
Hi. What is imaging and how does imaging work?
That is a broad question. Imaging, specifically, people usually think of X-ray to start out with, and that actually is radiation that is utilized to form an image. But imaging also includes MRI, which uses magnetic waves to working with the patient's body to create imaging. We have nuclear medicine. Nuclear medicine actually uses isotopes that are radioactive that we inject into the patient's body and use that to see function in organs. Ultrasound uses sound waves, and they use the sound waves to make images. When people hear ultrasound, they always think, newborn or babies, OB type stuff. But that's usually just a real small part of what a sonographer does. Ultrasound, we can see vessels, cardiac, as well as, women's health issues and things like that.
Live. It looks like Emily's having some problems with hers, but her question is this: what are some jobs that need to study radiology or diagnostic imaging?
Could you say it again?
Yeah, I guess, so what are some of the jobs that need to study radiology or diagnostic imaging? I kind of think that's maybe what do you need to study in order to go into radiology and diagnostics?
So the training for jobs for diagnostic imaging, you can get jobs in outpatient areas, in the hospital, emergency rooms. The actual training generally starts with at least 1 year of general prerequisites at a college before going on to a radiology program. The radiology program is generally 2 years, with a large clinical component in that. And after 2 years of X-ray school, there's a large national registry exam that you take, and then you're considered a registered radiologic technologist. And then at that point, you could move on to CAT scan or MRI and get additional training and additional certifications.
Gayla, if I'm correct, once you get that initial certification, then you can learn on the job some of those skills and then test through the accreditation.
Yes. And different places have different requirements for that, but some places will train as part of the job. We do that here in some areas, and there's also programs that might go ahead and finish with a bachelor's degree and a certification in MRI or CAT scan or something like that.
Great answers. You know, Camdenton Middle School has a question. I have the same question because I get a little confused myself. What is the difference between an MRI and a CT?
Great question.
They both use what we call cross-sectional imaging. So I always tell people to think of that like if you sliced a person up like a loaf of bread and you pull out one slice and just look at that little image, you can see a lot more anatomy there. So they both use that type of imaging and segmented imaging. But CAT scan uses X-ray, so it's radiation, and MRI uses magnetic imaging, so it's a giant magnet. It's one of those you have to be real careful when you go in the room. We have to screen patients really well, because if you go in with metal in your pocket or something, the magnet could actually get just stuck to the magnet. So it's an interesting area to work in, and it's a big safety area because you have to really be careful of the patients before they go in and make sure they're properly screened. The images are going to look similar, but MRI is really good for like joints and some certain soft tissue anatomy, and CT is good for, chest studies and different things. So it kind of depends on what the doctor's looking for, which one he'll order.
So if I'm an athlete, most of the time, if I, do something to my ACL or my elbow or something along those lines, MRI is going to be the first that you order up for me.
MRI is going to be what they want. That'll show a lot of detail of the joint and if there's a tear in there, which X-ray does not show.
So we just saw the Chiefs won the Super Bowl. So I got to think, when Patrick Mahomes sprained his ankle, they put him in an MRI machine to see what was going on.
I would say they did, yes.
Hey, we have some great questions coming in now from Sherwood High School. What intrigued you to pursue your career in radiology, Gayla?
Honestly, I always wanted healthcare. That was when I was a teenager, my grandma took me to be a candy striper at the nursing home, and I just always wanted to go into healthcare. And I started with my 1 year of prerequisites, and I just looked at different studies or different fields. And then I took a tour of the imaging department at a local hospital, and you start looking at what they're doing, and you can see inside the people and what's going on in there. And it's just, it really did intrigue me. And the technology just advances so quickly. There's been so many changes in the field just in the past few years.
I would imagine new equipment all the time.
All the time, yes.
So that leads us to our next question. Fulton High School asks, what type of certifications need to operate an MRI machine?
You need to be a registered MRI technologist. And so it's the ART, the American Registry of Radiologic Technologists, have different levels of certifications. And generally, the initial certification would be for X-ray, and then they would move on to MRI. They are coming out with some programs now that go directly to the MRI registry without going through the X-ray first. So if somebody's absolutely positive MRI is what they want, then there are options for that. You just have to research that.
Excellent. And then what are the salaries? Follow-up question is, what is the average salary for a radiologist?
It varies based on the certification. So your entry level X-ray tech just out of school is, and it's going to vary across the state as well. But I mean, I think in Southwest Missouri, a tech would start 18-ish dollars an hour. It could go to 20. And then as you add certifications, that typically sees an increase in the base rate that an individual makes.
Excellent. Good question. Good question. Another question, Hancock Place High School. I think that's located in St. Louis. How do you prevent negative effects from imaging? Great question, Hancock.
So I know from the people side of it, we screen our employees. They all wear, you can kind of see on Gala's badge, all of the radiology staff have radioactive monitors that they have to turn in, and those get logged to see how much exposure they've had over time frames, and those are reported so we can monitor. And then if there's ever any type of leak or anything like that, those get reported as well and monitored on each staff member.
Wow. It sounds like you take safety, job one there at CMH.
Very much.
We do, yes.
We kind of hit this one. What are the risks of nuclear imaging? And one of the questions that came from Cross Key Middle School, just to follow up, can it make you sick? Good question.
Not at this point. The imaging would not. It's really, the doses over the years have come down so much, and we try to watch that. We have, it's ALERA, as low as reasonably achievable. And so we watch closely that, patients get the exam they need when they come in and do it right, so they don't have to have an additional image. And there's different alerts with patients that show if they've had multiple studies. But I don't want to say it cannot, but with all of the measures that we have in place, I've never seen it.
That's good to know. So, Gala, parting shot, what would you suggest to students around the state and really around the country to go into imaging?
If you want to go into imaging and you can, I would suggest shadowing at a local hospital because it's just really hard to encompass everything that you're going to come in contact with. And some people think ultrasound is their dream job, and then they get in the room and it's kind of dark and quiet, and they're studying the image and they find out that that's just not for them. Fortunately, with imaging, if you get started, there's a lot of different directions you can go. You don't just have to stay with your whatever you started out with, but I would say really get to know what you're looking into and make sure you have a good idea of what the job would entail.
Fantastic. And Jeremy, any final words of wisdom for the students out there?
No, we really appreciate the opportunity, and if anybody ever has a question, they can reach out to us.
Excellent. And we did have some students who wanted to do some internships, so I would say direct them to your webpage at CMH.
Yep, that'd be a great spot.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for what you do day in and day out to kind of diagnose us and keep us healthy.
Thank you.
So one of the things that was mentioned was internships. A free tool resource online is our Missouri Intern Connect at the Missouri Chamber of Commerce. You can find internships around the state of Missouri, and there's a companion website to that, the Missouri Apprentice Connect. If you Google those, they'll pull up, and you can search for internships or apprenticeships wherever you may be. And if you're from out of state, there's some great opportunities right here in Missouri if you're willing to relocate, attend a college, or even start working at CMH, BJC, SSM Health, and a variety of other healthcare providers that you see today. During the throes of COVID, Missouri Hospital Association coordinated the pandemic relief effort with the hospitals around the state. And at the same time, their team set on a path to deliver a new portal for students anywhere to zoom in, find out what career pathway is right for them with the MHA Missouri Healthcare Careers Portal. Let's see a look inside this free resource that you can access right now while we're watching today. A great resource that you can click on right now and find out if any of the healthcare occupations that you see in our program today are the right fit for you. Find out if you like working with people, maybe good with blood or fearful of blood, one of the two. You can find out a little bit more about that on Missouri Healthcare Careers Portal and find out some of the great paying jobs that are available right here in Missouri and the pathways in higher education to get to them. So in our next segment, we're going to go into Hawthorne Children's Psychiatric Hospital. You know, one of the things that is developed over the course of the last couple of years is the fact that mental health and wellness plays a critical component to our overall health. And the stigma from mental health is being reduced daily by healthcare professionals and really people alike. In fact, young people like yourselves are realizing that mental health is a critical aspect, one that is not something to be joked about, but taken seriously. So if you want to help children that have mental illnesses or different types of conditions that need support, you may be right for working at Hawthorne Children's Psychiatric Hospital. Their staff have a compassionate way of dealing with mental health and getting individuals back on track and living good, healthy lives. Let's see inside Hawthorne right now.
Hi, my name is Michael McFarland and I am the Chief Operating Officer of Hawthorne Children's Psychiatric Hospital in Pagedale, Missouri. Hawthorne is a 44-bed facility serving the inpatient and residential needs of children and adolescents ages 6 to 17 who have acute mental health challenges and trauma histories. As you embark on your pursuit of a career that best fits your interests and either current or future abilities, you will ultimately have to answer for yourself the question of, what is it that I want to do with my life? Well, for many of us, including myself, this has been a lifelong question that I have revisited many times over the course of my 23 years in youth development and 12 years with the Department of Mental Health. As COO, I have the privilege of leading a diverse group of interdisciplinary mental health professionals in providing trauma-informed services to young people from underserved communities and limited financial resources. Much of my job is actually ensuring that as a hospital community, we are faithful to our mission and aspirational about how we can best meet the needs of children struggling in our community statewide to manage their medical and behavioral challenges. During the course of this video, you will meet some of my teammates who assist me with ensuring that we provide a safe environment for both staff and patients to provide active treatment in order to promote healing and recovery. Although we all occupy different roles within behavioral health, you will see that we successfully complement each other in assisting pediatric patients improve their short-term outcomes and return to their families and communities.
Hello, my name is Emily McCush, a clinical caseworker here at Hawthorne Children's Psychiatric Hospital. I've always been interested in mental health, even in high school. When I got my degree in psychology, I wanted to use it, so I browsed jobs online and an ad for Hawthorne caught my eye. I ended up as a psychiatric technician on the evening shift on inpatient, and after 6 months, I moved to the night shift while pursuing my master's in counseling. I eventually moved to a day shift position, and then an opportunity came up to become an education assistant, and I took it. All of this while going to night classes. Once I got my degree, I moved into a social work position where I am now, doing case management and family therapy. I stay at Hawthorne because of the people, the mission, and the kids. I'm somewhere that I know I make a difference, not only in the lives of my clients, but in those of their families and my coworkers as well. Hawthorne has helped me grow not only professionally, but personally. I'm a better person for the journey I've gone through while here at Hawthorne, and they have supported me all the way.
Hi, my name is Eric B. Lilly, and I am an RN, the day shift supervisor at Hawthorne Children's Psychiatric Hospital. I actually started in mental health as a teenager working at Hawthorne when it was on Filer. I worked in the activity department, and that was my introduction into mental health. Now, why I became a nurse, the short answer is to be of service to others and to better understand the human condition. At a young age, I was intrigued by how my elders used what they had to help people recover from hurt, harm, and illness. Harm, I learned, spoke to wounds or altered function that required more than bandages to support healing. For me, nursing provided a way to learn how to care for the entire human. Nursing taught and supported ways to save people when required, to prevent hurt, harm, and illness. And nursing advocates healthy living, and I like that. What made me decide to specialize in psychiatric nursing? It was my perceived need for diversity that drew me to psych nursing. Men, and especially men of color, are underrepresented in healthcare in general. Men struggle to seek care when physically vulnerable. Seeking mental health care can be even harder for some men to do. My hope has always been to advocate for care and to be a visible role model to men and others in need of support during vulnerable points in their lives. Support for mental health and diversity, when demonstrated, can improve health outcomes. Now, what drew me to Hawthorne? As much as I love kids, I love and respect the individuals who care for them even more. Caring for your own child can be tough at times. Caring for others' children requires a discipline and consistency that is hard to do and even harder to teach and support. Hawthorne demonstrates excellence in caring for youth and supporting the optimal health outcomes for youth and their families, and I wanted to be a part of that noble work. Now, what made me stay so long? I'm still here because in my core, I believe in the work that is done at Hawthorne. Hawthorne, and I can't say this enough, saves and changes lives on purpose. It is my belief that Hawthorne has literally prevented the death of and changed the life trajectory of thousands of Missouri's families and Missouri's children. It is my belief that the work done at Hawthorne makes a difference, and I am proud to do this work, and I am proud to share this work with these noble individuals that do it with me. And I stay so that this work continues.
Hi, my name is LaToya Young, and I've been here at Hawthorne for about 17 years. I started back in 2006 on the evening shift on adolescent unit. It's where I became and got all my good training and strength from. About 2.5 years later, I started on day shift down in residential Cottage D, and it's where I became more family-oriented with the hospital. And about 10 years after that, I came to the RT department, where I am now as an activity aide. We do all the therapeutic activities and all of the fun stuff with the clients. To me, Hawthorne is family. Hawthorne is togetherness. It's emotional intelligence, all wrapped in one. Everyone here is like a family. It's just such a warm feeling just when we're together. I think that Hawthorne has taught me so much, from the clients to the doctors to the techs to everyone here. I learned and I can use in my everyday life. And I just think that's a great aspect of Hawthorne, and I just love it.
Hi, my name is Elizabeth Schulte, and I am the Chief of Clinical Services at Hawthorne Children's Psychiatric Hospital. In this role, I have the opportunity to provide support and oversight to several departments within the facility, in addition to the inpatient and the residential treatment programs. I'm on the executive team, and in that role, I get to help make decisions that affect the facility as a whole. My background, though, is in social work, and I chose social work because I really loved some of the basic principles of social work. And I also learned in school that with a degree in social work, I could pursue many different types of treatment. And so that's really where I wanted to focus. My career in the Department of Mental Health started about 16 years ago when I was a practicum student at a sister facility that provides adult mental health treatment for psychiatric conditions. And that's where I found out that I really, really do love providing mental health treatment. And so upon graduation, I got a job at the agency that I completed my practicum and stayed for a period of time, developed my skills, and actually went on to become the director of social work, which was also a wonderful experience. And I've been in this role at Hawthorne for the last year. I came here because I really wanted to learn more about how to use my knowledge and expand it further to help children across the state that need services that only we provide. And so this has been really meaningful to me. Throughout my career, I have felt very supported and encouraged to try new things and to expand my own skill set. And I hope that when you've listened to this video and you've watched and you've heard from other team members that you've heard sort of similar themes. This is an agency and this is a department that really believes in supporting our team members and helping them do the things that they want to do. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. We really hope you learned some things about Hawthorne and about the team members that have helped support this wonderful facility.
That was great to go inside Hawthorne Children's to find a little bit more about how they help individual students, children each day overcome their issues with mental illness. With us live is Michael McFarland. You saw him in the video. Now he's with us Zoom live. Michael, thanks for joining us. You have the floor.
I really appreciate everyone's time and attention today. Just wanted to let you know that, we are a branch of the Missouri Department of Mental Health. We're a state-operated facility. And there is no general health without behavioral health. We are thinking, feeling individuals, and it's very important to treat the entire person. And so much of that is emotional management, treating children and adolescents who are in distress and are struggling with acute psychiatric disorders. We have an inpatient program here for both children and adolescents who require stabilization and short-term stays. We also have a residential program that after people complete the inpatient program, they can be transferred to residential so that we can look at community supports and community reintegration and returning them either to their families of origin or a placement that can better support them in their psychiatric needs in the community. And of course, in addition to the behavioral stuff that we do here, being nurturing, compassion, mental health care professionals, of course, we do medication management, talk therapy. We have an on-site school to meet their educational needs. Recreational therapy is part of treatment and recovery. And we really believe in the dignity of children and adolescents. And it's a pleasure to serve, to be a public servant in this capacity with children and even more importantly, their families.
Michael, that's great to hear, and thank you so much for the value add you do for the healthcare system and really to the individuals around the state of Missouri. We have a couple questions coming in, and I just want to ask before we get to some of the questions, is Ann with you, and is she going to be Zooming in?
No, Ann is not with me, unfortunately.
Okay, no problems, just wanted to double check.
Okay.
So we have Columbia Area Career Center asks, how do you deal with an aggressive patient?
Yeah, I started while the video was going on, typing in the chat that we do a lot of listening. We ask them what the source of their distress is currently and how we can best help them. Space reduces pressure. We remind them about their safety plans. All the children have safety plans to help them with coping mechanisms. Sometimes it's as simple as offering a child noise-canceling headphones. We do a lot of redirection and trying to get their attention off of, they may be distressed because they feel provoked by another patient, or they may not have liked a response, maybe being told no by staff as far as limit setting because they couldn't have something at that particular time. We also tap out with each other because we always intervene in behavioral crises as teams. And so if I'm the focus of a young person's distress, somebody else will come in to redirect and make them the focus, and I'll remove myself out of the picture. So there's just a lot of creativity and a lot of talking in dealing with aggressive clients.
Yeah, I would think that would probably be the most stressful parts of the job, is dealing with somebody that's under duress and really challenged and trying to figure out how they can cope with their situation. A couple more questions have come in. We have a student out there. What characteristics are needed to work in mental health facilities?
It's an excellent question. A lot of patience and intellectual curiosity. Really trying to understand what's motivating and driving that human behavior. I always encourage people to look at the histories and the patient charts and the intake paperwork to see what has happened to this young person prior to their admission to Hawthorne to have a better understanding. You're looking for behavioral clues, and you have to be very clear about what the short-term and long-term goals are for that patient while they're here. There may be ways you want to help, but at the end of the day, it's really driven by the patient's needs. And to have a better sense of those needs, you need to know what the short-term goals are and the long-term goals are, and what you can do best to assist that patient. So I would say intellectual curiosity, engagement, compassion, an interest in helping people, an interest in being a part of the solution instead of a part of the problem. I always tell people you can plant seeds or pull weeds. And as a healthcare professional here, you really get to plant seeds and give people the skills and the tools to return to the community and erect very meaningful lives while managing their mental illnesses or disorders.
You know, following up on that, we had a young lady that put something in the question box and wondered, you know, to follow up with that, can you work in mental health if you've had issues or personal mental health challenges?
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, I did a study back in 2010, so I apologize, the data is dated, but at that time, when I was doing the training, rather, there was a study that said 83% of mental health care professionals have mental health issues and struggles of their own or in their families of origin. And prior to becoming the chief operating officer, I was also the HR director for this hospital. And one of the things that would always come up in interviews is I would ask people, what is their personal story that drove them to mental health services? And inevitably, there was usually a story in the individual's family of someone that had their own mental health issues and challenges, or someone who may have struggled in high school or college with an acute episode of depression or feelings of hopelessness. And so being that they were able to negotiate their own challenges, they inevitably want to give back and help other people who are going through those same or similar challenges. And it's very gratifying work to be able to get paid to do that.
You know, and I would think they bring a very different, compassionate lens to that situation, knowing that they have had a background with that.
Yes, empathy is very important. I always tell new employees and during your employee orientation, the therapeutic alliance is what best assists patients through their treatment and recovery during their stay at Hawthorne.
Well, Michael, we have time for one more question. Actually, if we can. The question is from Christian Brothers College High School. How can a high school student begin their journey in the career of behavioral health?
So I would say it's a very good question. I would say a good place to start is volunteering, or perhaps you attend a school that does service learning on the weekends. I think skilled nursing facilities, nursing homes, assisted living communities, working with the elderly is a great way to begin working with people of varying levels of behavioral functioning, mental health functioning, but who are also very grateful for your time and attention. I myself volunteered. My mother was a geriatric nurse, and I volunteered in a nursing home from the age of 7 to 15. And I absolutely equate those volunteer hours to the reason that I do this kind of work today. I would say for seniors in high school, as long as you're 18, consider spending time during the summer working in a part-time capacity with our hospital, working with the recreational therapy department and assisting them with facilitation of activities for our kids, particularly our younger children, ages 8 to 12.
Fantastic. Well, Michael, thank you for your time today and zooming in for Healthcare Career Day, and really thank your whole team there at Children's for all that they do to help individuals get back on their feet.
Thank you for the invitation, and this has been wonderful.
Absolutely. Well, now we'll move into our next part of the program. And as we do, I'd like to just thank our partners. This would not be possible without the Missouri Chamber of Commerce and Industry, as well as the Missouri Hospital Association, the Missouri Department of Elementary and Secondary Education, as well as all our sponsors that have joined us today to make this possible. You know, one thing is you young people look at healthcare careers and you've seen a wide variety today, and we'll see a few more. The Health Occupation Student Association in your schools can be a great resource to get you into the healthcare profession. And if you don't have a HOSA chapter in your high school, work with the Department of Elementary Secondary Education to get one put there. They'll help you. All right, so now we're going into our next portion, and we're going to zoom into Boone Health, where physical and occupational therapies is really center stage. Now, we talked about it earlier. If you were Patrick Mahomes going into the Super Bowl and you had a sprained ankle, you would need a physical therapy plan to get you back on track and in the game. So if you believe that there is no pain, no gain, physical therapists actually help improve the patient's ability to get past the pain so they can go on gaining. With that, we're going to go inside Boone Health right now and see what it is to be a therapist.
One of the great things about therapy is you can start out in one area and you can choose to switch it up and do something different over your career without having to necessarily go back to school. So there's home health, there's outpatient, there's inpatient, and even within the inpatient world, there's pediatrics, there's geriatrics, there's all kinds of different opportunities.
I work in rehab department for physical therapy. I have been working for Boone for the last 8 years now. I love my job because of many reasons. We are the ones who help people get back to their home. We help people in community reintegration. Typically, I work on rehab floor That's my typical role. The things that we do involves like walking, getting them do exercises, and in a good day we also take them outside, try and walk with them outside depending on their potential and what the expectation is. When I was in high school, when I was trying to see the different career paths that I would take, I feel like I knew that helping people is something that I would always want to do, but I love the fact that physical therapy helps in getting the patient back home, with their loved ones, in their normal surroundings, in their normal jobs, if applicable.
I am a speech-language pathologist here, and I work in the outpatient setting, and I also work in the inpatient setting. So I bounce around just a bit, but I'm primarily over in the outpatient setting working with pediatrics and adults. I love working with people. I'm very extroverted, I'm very talkative, and so whenever I was thinking about a career, my mom was a teacher, and she was like, you should be a speech pathologist. And the more and more I looked into it and I saw how diverse it was and how many different things you can do as a speech pathologist, I was so excited. The best part about being a speech therapist is it is the most rewarding career I could ever ask for. I get to watch kids learn to talk. I get to watch parents hear their children talk for the first time. I get to help people after a stroke get to eat their favorite meal again or drink their coffee. There's nothing about it that is not rewarding.
Well, I'm David White, and I'm an occupational therapist at Boone Hospital. I work on inpatient rehab for the most part, and then I kind of work around the hospital seeing acute care patients also. What I like to do here at the hospital is help people get back to doing the things that they really want to do after they've had an injury like a stroke or a physical injury, and it's my job to get them lined up with equipment that they might need to return to home and to learn how to do things maybe in a different way than they were doing it before. How does a person know if they want to be an occupational therapist, or what should they do if they want to pursue that? I would say hands down the best experience is to job shadow. You just have to spend time with therapists and see what they do, and in different environments, because it can be dramatically different depending upon the situation that they work in.
So my job is really dealing with rehabbing any conditions that have to do with the muscles of the pelvic floor. So that tends to be issues of urinary, bowel and bladder control, sexual health, any issues that come up during pregnancy or postpartum rehab. So I do a lot with like the core and just kind of getting people back to doing what they want to do. So average day I spend an hour with each patient one-on-one. We do like a full assessment of everything that's going on with their issues. And then we do all sorts of different exercises, breath retraining, core retraining, and I just kind of see my patients and then have lunch or maybe a few meetings with my coworkers. My team, the pelvic therapists within our specialty, will kind of meet together and discuss new research and learning new topics, and so there's a good variety. Physical therapy is kind of cool because when you go through PT school, you don't have to choose a specialty, you learn all of it. So you can really go into any field. I started in pediatrics and then switched into orthopedics. I've done some of that stuff inpatient, some outpatient. And so if you realize you're in a field you don't like, you can switch.
I think people pick this job and they come back to this job because those moments when you make a difference, I mean, there's nothing better than that. I think it's rare that people feel like at their job that they are changing someone's life for the better. It provides a sense of fulfillment in your workplace. We spend a lot of time at work in our lives, most of us do, and it has to be meaningful, I think, for people.
You know, occupational and physical therapists keep us moving and grooving. And now we're going to go live into Boone Health, where Tracy Evers, Director of Therapy Services, is zooming in. Tracy, welcome to Missouri Healthcare Career Day.
Thank you.
Well, if you'd like to just kind of explain a little bit how you got into this pathway and what you find most gratifying, and then we'll go to our Q&A. We have some students already submitting questions.
Great. Yes. So as you all saw in the video, my name is Tracy Evers. I am the Director of Therapy Services and the Rehab Unit and Pain Management at Boone Health. I got started in the career of therapy. Interestingly enough, I wanted to be the first female trainer for the Kansas City Chiefs. So it was interesting you brought up Patrick Mahomes in that story. But I ended up changing my pathway after my grandmother had a stroke at a fairly young age. And when I was in high school and trying to decide what careers to do, I kind of got interested in therapy. I graduated from the University of Missouri with degrees in biology and physical therapy in 1993, and then I came to work at Boone Hospital Center. Boone Hospital Center has grown over the years. We're now Boone Health. We consist of the hospital center here in Columbia, and then we also have medical clinics throughout 26 counties and a home care and hospice. As far as what my career looked like, I started out in the hospital working primarily with inpatients. And then as I grew in my profession and my career, I sort of took a path towards supervision and management. Boone Health really cultivated that in me. I had some great mentors, great leaders and bosses within Boone. And in addition, they helped fund my MBA, which I got in 2008 through Columbia College. So I kind of feel like my career started out in primarily inpatient care with adults. I was able to help start the inpatient rehab unit, which I manage now, which deals with PTOT and speech for patients that have suffered from injuries like a stroke. And so through that process, I feel like my career has developed to where now I primarily manage, but it's the same type of feeling that you get when you're providing care with patients that I like to say I feel like now when I'm providing care to my staff. And so that's just a little bit about me and my career path. I did find out recently through a study that physical therapists are reported to have one of the happiest careers, and they feel very satisfied in their job because most all therapists feel like their job gives them meaning. And so I feel like I definitely see that in my staff and felt that way in my career. So I just feel really good about therapy as a career path for young people today.
You know, Tracy, you hit on a great point. In fact, I had gone through a physical therapy for a couple different injuries and was a longtime biker and skateboarder and ran into a lot of different issues with that. But every time I'd go into a PT to see them, they were always very passionate, very inspiring, and always were positive. So you really do kind of uplift the mood of your clients and patients each day. So we have a couple questions coming in. In fact, one's right there next to you at the Columbia Area Career Center. Students want to know, how would a high school student start their career as an OT?
Great, as an OT, yes. So I would say if you're in that career pathway class, that's a great way to start. But what I always tell people to do until you're 18, where you can really maybe get some of that experience and work, is to talk to therapists. Talk to occupational therapists that work in a variety of settings. I think David even mentioned this on the video. You want to get a sense of occupational therapy as a whole. You can always visit our website at boone.health, go to services and look at therapy services, and that can give you some insight. But really talking to people about what they do every day as an occupational therapist in different settings, whether that be the hospital, outpatient clinic like where I'm at today, or in the home with home care.
Great answer there, Tracy. We have another question, kind of similar to that. Truman High School, what is the hardest type, either physical or occupational therapy? And then what is the longest? I guess that depends on the injury.
Yeah, I don't know that I could say there's a hardest type. I think that therapy can be long, especially for those patients that have a very severe injury. I would say probably the longest experience that's sustained in therapy would be those that have a serious, probably spinal cord injury. That's probably the one that I see still has a long length of stay. You're going to start out in a hospital if it was traumatic, maybe even in an ICU, and you're going to have PT and OT right away, and they're going to be with you through that entire stay. You're probably going to go on to an outpatient setting after a stay in an inpatient rehab. There are some pretty large ones throughout the country, and then there are ones that are hospital-based, like ours here at Boone. And then you may be familiar with other ones in town as well, but usually requires a stay like that. And then there's going to be ongoing outpatient and even some home health in there. So that's probably the toughest that I would say, and probably the longest course of treatment that you would have would be that type of diagnosis.
Fantastic. Tracy, we actually have a student that wants to go live from Independence, Missouri, from William Chrisman High School, I believe. And if you go ahead and unmute your sound and your video, and if you can say your name and your question. All right, we see you there from Independence. Go ahead and unmute your sound. All right. Yeah, we still having trouble hearing you. Can you unmute your microphone? Tracy, we'll get them pulled up here shortly.
No problem.
So one other question from CACC. Mandy asked, how do OTs and OTAs work together? Oh, diving into the weeds there.
Yeah, that's a great question. OTs and OTAs work together very well and collaboratively here at Boone, and I'm sure it's true in other organizations. So occupational therapists will go in and typically evaluate the patient, and they will create a plan of care for that patient specific to their injury or whatever diagnosis they may be treating. And then they'll collaborate, and that OTA will come in and follow through on that plan, working directly with the patient. And then usually they'll get back together, depending on the setting. It may be the same day. If it's an inpatient setting, it may be within the same week if it's an outpatient setting. And they'll talk about how the treatment went, how the progress went, and then they'll collaborate and maybe advance that program together. At some point, the occupational therapist will have to go back in and reevaluate and reassess and advance, and then work again with the OTA to carry through the next treatment session. So that's kind of an idea of how those two work together.
We got another student that's coming in, Cheyenne. If we have Cheyenne that can go live. She is from New Caps in Neosho High School. And it's far away down in Neosho, so it's going to take a little while for the broadband to connect.
Also video. Okay.
Go ahead. Is that your question?
There we go. Excellent. Hey, you're live. We see you. We can hear you. Go ahead and ask Tracy your question.
How much has changed in your field since you started?
Good question.
Oh, gosh, that is a great question. I was thinking about that a little bit when I talked about how I had started out in 1993 at Boone. I was working a lot with orthopedic patients, so this is just one example, but when people would have their knee replaced in 1993, they would stay in the hospital somewhere on average of about 5 to 7 days, and now they stay an average of 1.5 days. So that's just one example of the advances that you see when it comes to surgery and post-surgical care. I would say that's probably the thing that I see that's the most different. Another thing that's a lot different since when I graduated, as I mentioned, physical therapists received a bachelor's degree, and now physical therapy programs are a clinical doctorate degree. So that's definitely much more advanced education and training that you get now as a PT. You're seeing that same trend in occupational therapy. Speech pathology has always been a master's program, and then they do what's called a CFY, or a clinical fellowship year, where they're under the supervision of a speech pathologist. So the education level and the amount of information that therapists have today is vastly different than when I graduated from school. I would say that's probably the biggest difference, that and just keeping up with the advancements in medical care and understanding the advancements in treatment philosophies that have changed in therapy. Also, many states throughout the United States have direct access for physical therapy and occupational therapy and speech. And what that means is that people in the community can seek services from a therapist without a physician referral or an order. So those are some big changes that I've seen.
Wow, that's quite a bit. And I would imagine all kinds of new tools and technologies that are integrated into it. I know with geriatric health, they're deploying different types of video games, virtual, so that they can get their muscles moving and keep them active. So technology is definitely being a part of it. One of the follow-up questions, Tracy, and this is what the young man from Independence, what are the cons of being a physical therapist? So are there any downsides to being a physical therapist?
Well, I would say, some of the cons, depending on where you work, could be the schedule. In the inpatient hospital settings, especially, there are no days you're closed. So you are usually working some weekends and some holidays. So there's definitely, for some folks, a challenge when it comes to that type of a schedule. Another con is just the same cons that I think you see in all of healthcare professions, which is it's a hard job. It can be mentally and physically taxing. And, with healthcare, there's a lot of change. It's usually rapid. And so for folks that don't do well with, adapting to change and don't want to necessarily feel sort of that anxiousness that you might feel in a healthcare environment. The pandemic was a really good example of that in the career of healthcare, whether that's therapy or nursing. There were a lot of changes that came at us for several years, and just having to adapt and deal with those is something that I feel like is unique in the healthcare environment.
I would say so. Change is constant in the healthcare environment. So we have a fun question. Camden Middle School wants to know, have you ever treated a celebrity?
I have not treated a celebrity. I have treated some athletes when I was a student that, played sports at different colleges. But I have not treated any celebrities at this time. I still have a lot of time in my career. So who knows? One of those students may become a celebrity. And if you do, I want to treat you.
Great. All right. Well, Tracy, thank you so much for joining us for Healthcare Career Day. And, thank you for all that you and your team does at Boone Health to keep people moving.
We appreciate that so much. Thank you for your time. And thank you to all the sponsors that made this day possible for these students.
We'll see you, Tracy. Thank you. So you just saw inside physical therapy and a variety of other different careers that are out there for young people like yourselves to look into going forward. There's not one time in our history that nursing has not been a critical occupation. In fact, right now in the state of Missouri, there's over 6,700 positions open for nursing. So your career pathway is guaranteed. And if you're not really cut out for nursing, you can go into a variety of other different professions. Have you seen sterilization tech, mental health, behavioral health, as well as radiology and physical therapy? So a great world of occupations that exists right here in the state of Missouri with some great companies. So now we're going to kind of transition into our next part of the program. And as we do, we're going to bring up different types of healthcare pathways, both in the 2-year, the technical, and the 4-year sector. So as we do, we just want to shout out to our healthcare providers as well as some of our schools that have joined us throughout the program. First and foremost, this program wouldn't have been possible without the Missouri Chamber of Commerce, the Missouri Hospital Association, and the Missouri Department of Elementary and Secondary Education. And our sponsors, the Chamber Benefit Plan, Jefferson College, who you'll hear from shortly, Mosaic Life Care, and Stevens College, also who you'll hear shortly. BJC Healthcare, Cox Health, Missouri State University, Missouri Healthcare, and the University of Kansas Health System, along with our bronze sponsors, Columbia College, Lincoln University, and their supporting sponsors, Bothwell Regional Health Center and University of Central Missouri. Now we're going to go into our next part of this program. And so as young people, you're probably thinking, how do I get into a 2-year, 4-year technical college, and what are the programs out there for me? And the one thing I'll communicate that we've seen time and time again and have heard from the professionals is that there's phenomenal resources available to you with all the higher education centers in the state of Missouri. But many of these pathways can be paid for by tuition reimbursement that you'd find if you started working for an SSM Health, St. Luke's, Mosaic, or others. They have tuition reimbursement, so you can get your foot in the door working right out of high school and then have some of that career pathway paid for by the hospital or healthcare provider you're working in. So now we're going to transition to finding out what are those 2-year and 4-year career pathways. And with us, zooming in from Jefferson College, Missouri, Jefferson College, is Dr. Kenny Wilson, the Associate Dean of Science and Health at Jefferson College. Dean Wilson, thank you for joining us today. And let's hear a little bit about some of the 2-year programs. Hey,
Hi.
There you are, Kenny.
First off, I want to start off by giving a shout out to my patient care technician and certified nursing assistant students that are behaving themselves on either side of me, and hopefully you won't be able to hear them through the walls. But I love all this conversation. I love the fact that I got to follow Tracy from Boone Health. I'm a physical therapist by background, physical therapist and athletic trainer. I want to know if she added the Patrick Mahomes button after you talked about Patrick Mahomes, or if she had that on beforehand. But all the conversation with respect to realistic job previews, pathways, career advancement, all of those things are critical conversations for those of you in high school and elementary school to start thinking of now, because you want to make sure that a career pathway is what you want. We at the community college level really do think that if you get a realistic career preview and something doesn't fit, we've got other options for you. We've got other pathways to go to. We talked about the fact that if you don't like the sight of blood, there are other opportunities for you to go to. So pathways are critical. One of the things I wanted to highlight at Jefferson College, speaking of our CNA and patient care tech students, is our Pathways in Nursing program that we're developing and will be rolling out in the next year, that will be a seamless transfer from our high school area technical career and tech ed programs here at our local high schools into our bilevel nursing program, so that we can set those students up to transition directly in and be successful in our nursing programs. We also have a new Associate of Science in Biology. And the reason that's important is because we just talked about some of those post-baccalaureate programs. So Tracy and I, when we graduated from physical therapy school way back in the 90s, we were bachelor's degree. I graduated from St. Louis University in 1991 with my bachelor's in PT. Once again, that career has transitioned over time to where now it's a clinical doctorate. So the point is that there are certain programs, Doctor of Medicine, Doctor of Osteopathic Medicine, Speech Language Pathology, OT, PT, a slew of others that are post-baccalaureate. So you need a bachelor's degree to be able to apply for those programs. So Associate of Science in Biology gets a lot of those prerequisite courses in sciences out of the way, so that you can prepare to finish that baccalaureate at a great partner like Stevens to be able to transition in one of those post-baccalaureate programs. Stevens is one of our partners with a couple of our programs, and we love working with them, so I'm looking forward to hearing from them. Also wanted to talk a little bit about a radiologic technology program, which has grown dramatically over the past few years, and we have some of the most amazing facilities that you can imagine. I would put them up against just about anybody to create that realistic preview for students so that they're practicing in controlled conditions before we put them out in the clinic to practice on real patients. So I also like very much the conversations about career advancement that I've heard, because specifically with nursing was kind of the pioneer when it came to career latticing. So you can start as a CNA and envision yourself in a few years being a registered nurse or a bachelor's of science nursing and be able to work with specific patient types. And that career pathway, that career lattice work really started in the nursing area, in my mind. I will say that radiologic technology is another of those incredible atrium programs where you start out as a rad tech, but you have a multitude of directions you can go in, from CT, MRI, even stackable ultrasound programs, to PACS, which is basically the computer side of rad tech where you store all those films. So there's a mammography. So there's a multitude of ways that you can go after getting your associate in radiologic technology. We also have other programs of study. Physical therapist assistant is, there was a question earlier with respect to OT and OTA. PT and PTA are very similar in how they relate. I had a 20-plus year practice working with orthopedic physical therapists, and like Tracy, I haven't necessarily worked on anybody famous that you would know, but I did get to work on some professional wrestlers, which was kind of an interesting experience. But the stackable model with PTA, the OTA to OT, there are a lot of transitional programs out there. So if you come to a 2-year or a 4-year institution to get your OTA, there are multiple programs out there to transition you to the OT level. PTA to PT hasn't developed quite the same robust offerings, but there are opportunities for you to get your PTA, go on to a 4-year, finish your bachelor's, and then apply for a post-baccalaureate PT program with the experience that you've gained as a PTA. So those opportunities do exist for you. Another program that I wanted to highlight was our Health Information Technology program. Our HIT program is completely online. So a lot of people take advantage of that are working in the field. So you're working in a healthcare environment. You're working in the health records department. You're working in the admissions department. You're working in the building and coding department. We call our HIT program the business side of healthcare. So this is the opportunity to work with the industry as kind of from the business perspective. But the program is completely online and is very beneficial for those that are already working in the field and would like to be able to advance their credentials. Lastly, I want to talk about something that's a little bit different in that the vast majority of things we've discussed today are human healthcare, but I did want to bring up the concept of animal healthcare. So we do have a veterinary technology program that aligns students with introductory careers into the veterinary market. So the reason that's important, in the state of Missouri, we still call them veterinary technologists. In some other states, veterinary technicians, excuse me. In some other states, they're referred to as veterinary nurses. And that's the way I describe it to individuals as they're looking at the program is this is something for you to do if you want to be working in healthcare, but you might like our furry friends a little bit better. So that it is a unique opportunity to work in healthcare, but from an animal perspective. So the couple of things I want to leave you with before my time expires. Number one is something Tracy referred to that I thought was really important is get out in the field, see and experience those careers. All the things that you've heard today are going to really open your mind to some different avenues that you can pursue as a healthcare professional. But until you see it, feel it, smell it, be a part of it, it's a little more difficult to really establish that realistic career preview. So for myself, when I went to PT school, I wanted to be a pediatric physical therapist. Got into the field and realized that wasn't necessarily a very good fit for me. Now, I still love my pediatric orthopedic patients, and I got to do some of those, and that was always talking about filling up your cup when you had a pediatric patient coming in for rehab on an orthopedic issue. It always made me smile and kind of bound around for a few days. But the day-to-day pediatrics wasn't necessarily a fit for me. So when I got out of the clinical environment and I got to see that wasn't a good fit, it worked out well. So now that I could see different avenues for me to pursue, and I ended up in orthopedics and sports medicine. So do that realistic career preview. Secondly is see this as not a terminal destination, but a pathway into lifelong learning. So you'll see a lot of our 2-year institutions around the state have very clearly articulated relationships with our 4-year partners. So starting out at a community college for your either technical training or for your general education training doesn't limit your ability to reach for whatever heights you want to go for. We have an orthopedic physician in the St. Louis market who's a graduate of Jefferson College. So, we have multiple doctors of nursing, DNPs and NPs that went through our program of study. So going to a community college opens up avenues for you to become a lifelong learner, to stack credentials on top of each other, to gain more experiences. When we were discussing, oops, sorry, that was my timer. I was supposed to hit it before it went off. So Jefferson College, Hillsborough, Missouri, just about 45 minutes south of St. Louis. We got so many options for you. jeffco.edu. Feel free to reach out to myself or any of my colleagues if you have questions. But this is once again a fantastic experience, fantastic day, and I was so glad to be for Jefferson College to be a part of it again.
Kenny, great to have you here, and so good information that you presented. I mean, the two-year pathway can be really a good option, especially with money in Missouri, like A+ program, to help students achieve that. So one question that did come in the chat comment box is, what is your best program there at Jefferson College for healthcare, or most popular?
Was it from one of my students?
Yeah, what was the most popular one there at Jefferson?
Yeah, no, if it was from one of my students, I would have to say it's their program.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's not, no, we have some phenomenal faculty, and I'm not just saying that because I get to work with them on a day-to-day basis, but we have some faculty in all of our programs that are passionate about their students and passionate about their professions. We have faculty members, for example, our radiologic technology director is on the national board for the American Radiologic Technology Association. So we have individuals that are active across the country. Now, as far as facilities go, our nursing simulation lab and our nursing program has some amazing facilities that we've been able to develop over the past couple of years. And our radiologic technology, as I said, we're very blessed to have actually 2 live machines. Now, we obviously do not take x-rays on students or each other, but we do take a lot of x-rays on Phantom. So those students actually get the opportunity to execute x-rays prior to going out to the clinical environment, which is really key for them to being able to transition directly as clinicians.
Absolutely. And such a great experience for them, huh, Kenny?
Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much for joining us and zooming in from Jefferson College and sharing a little bit about the two-year pathways. We really appreciate you and all that you do at Jefferson College to get our students into the nursing and healthcare professions.
Absolutely. Thank you for having us.
All right. So now we heard a little bit about the two-year pathway. Now, what do you need to do if you want to transition from two-year to four-year? As Kenny had mentioned, Stevens is a great partner. We're going to see a little bit about what they offer here in a video, and then go right in to Dr. Dan Kissinger, the Interim Dean and Director of Counseling for Stevens College, and his faculty. They're going to showcase a little bit about the four-year pathway.
We're a lot more tight-knit than some other campuses. You get to have a better relationship with your professor because they're able to see you and know who you are. That creates a family atmosphere. It's almost like this is home away from home for a lot of people.
The first thing that drew me in about Stevens was that it's pet friendly. I'm a huge animal person, so that was my initial, I love this school. And I'm pre-PA, and Stevens actually has a graduate physician assistant program, so that was kind of the icing on top. Everything just kind of fell into place, and it just kind of felt like home to me.
It's different, I feel like, from a lot of other schools, just because the class sizes are smaller, so you feel like you can, I suppose, voice your opinion more than you would be inclined to in a class of 100 students or so at a bigger university.
I am studying for the MCAT now, so if I find a section that I need help with, I just make an appointment at the Student Success Center and go to the tutor, and it's usually just a one-on-one, or I can just go to my professor's office hours and they have no problem helping me study for the MCAT.
This was probably the first set of faculty that I've ever had that told me that they believed that I could do it. And that gave me the push and the drive to make it to the end. Just to know that they were rooting for me as hard as my family was a really big deal.
I think that it's just the fact that my professors believe in me way more than I do. Being able to actually step up and be a voice in the classroom is incredible. And it's something that obviously you don't get at bigger schools. It's something that is localized to Stevens.
If I can be that role model for some other little girl who says, I want to be just like her, I think the faculty here have given me that boost of confidence that I can be that for those little girls. And that was a very important thing for me.
Stevens is home. The professors feel like family, but that's just because they care about student success. Dr. Haugen, my advisor, seemed very warm and welcoming, and they really wanted to know, you know, the small details about me and why I'm interested in the program.
Having the smaller class sizes, I feel more like a student or more of an individual rather than just another student. They really do focus on every individual here. It benefits not only the student but the teacher, because the teacher is able to know every single student and what their strengths are and what they need help with.
I love how it is structured. I love that they provide 6 semesters for clinicals specifically. And those 6 semesters are gonna give you as much practice, and it's going to give you different experiences, and it's going to shape you into a better individual and a better nurse in the end.
Learning something new every day here at Stevens is probably the biggest benefit I can have, you know, from a college and especially the nursing program. It's just, they help me so much, and they make sure to really reach out and to see how you're doing. For us, when everyone's struggling or there's certain people struggling, the class usually tends to really help each other out.
Nursing school can be stressful, and it can be very interesting, and it can be fun. You make lifelong friends, you learn different skills, you get to know your professors better. It gives you a different perspective to life.
When you really do apply yourself and you go after what you want, you're more than capable of achieving great things. Nursing school is hard. You know, it's not for everybody, but it's only a couple years of stress, and you get to do what you love for the rest of your life.
And now we have zooming in from Stevens College. Dan, welcome to the program, and thank you for coming in and sharing a little bit about the 4-year career pathways. We know you have a full team there. I'll go ahead and let you kick it off and then transition to your team.
Great. Thank you, Brian. We really appreciate the opportunity. I am joined by a number of my colleagues, so I'm going to turn it over to them quickly. It's great to hear from Jefferson College and hear of all the kind of 2-year opportunities that you have. We are a really good transition point for almost every program that he talked about there, if not every program. The School of Health Sciences at Stevens College, we are small, and you hear the family kind of culture that they talk about, and that's great. You have very quick and consistent access to any of our faculty. All you have to do is contact them. We have, and so what I'm going to do is just kind of, the School of Health Science has so many programs for nursing, PA, you heard biological and health, you heard our entry videos. I'm going to turn it over really quickly to my colleagues because they are the experts in all of the different programs. And at the end, I'll talk about my program, and then we'll have hopefully a moment or two for some questions. So without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Noreen Hauk, who is the Director of Nursing. Noreen?
Noreen, can you go ahead and unmute? All right, go ahead. There you are. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. About 3 years ago, we started a brand new nursing program at Stevens College. It's a baccalaureate program. Students can complete it in 3 years, including 2 summers. We partnered with Boone Hospital to develop the program. They provided us with a state-of-the-art simulation lab right at the hospital, where next door to that unit, you're taking care of patients, and on that unit, the students practice patient scenarios before they go out to visit patients. The program is developed among looking at very current and progressive issues in healthcare and nursing. So we're looking at health disparities, culturally competent care. One of the main features of our program is the amount of experience students get. You might have heard one student mention in the video that they get 6 semesters of clinical experience and over 800 hours of acute care experience. We give them a wide variety of experience across the lifespan, including topics like leadership and quality. I wanted to speak to the pathways to nursing. So at Jefferson County, for instance, you can get an associate's degree in nursing, and then you can move on to continue your degree in nursing by adding 2 more years at a baccalaureate level program. You could directly enter, you can enter a lot of programs, you enter the graduate school, do a couple of years of your prerequisite coursework, and then you apply to the nursing program for the last 2 years. Or at Stevens, we do direct entry. So students are admitted directly to the program. They have a nursing advisor from the very beginning, and they do their entire program at Stevens College. And they complete a 4-year program in 3 years. Now I'd like to introduce the program director of our Physician Assistant Studies program, Dr. Megan Blakemore.
Hello, everybody. The PA program, Physician Assistant program, is actually a master's program. You're required to get a bachelor's degree prior to applying for PA school. Physician Assistant has consistently been the number 1 or number 2 job in the United States for the last couple of years. Most PA programs are anywhere from 24 to 27 months. We are a 27-month program here at Stevens College. We start every August. We have a cohort or a class size of 30. You apply through a national application system called CASPA. What's significant about our program is we do have a low number of students. There are five faculty here, so you spend a lot of time with us and you get some one-on-one hands-on instruction. We also have a 98% 5-year first-time pass rate for the PANCE, which is the national exam that you'll have to take in order to practice as a physician assistant. PAs can practice in any state in the United States. Some laws are variable, but Missouri is a great place to live and practice as a PA. And now I'd like to introduce Dr. Brandon Moore for biology.
Thank you, Megan. So I'm the chair of 3 great programs here at Stevens that can lead to a range of careers. Our health science curriculum is a broad curriculum that will touch on the breadth of health-related trajectories and prepare you for stepping into many fields, such as many diverse fields. We have integrative human biology, which is much more tailored to those who would be pre-vet or pre-med, those moving towards human health. And the last is a straight-up biology program, which is going to give you much more in-depth information in terms of the science of biology and preparing you for careers that could be veterinary school, but also would be also a great place to prepare for human medical components. In the moment I have right now, I want to introduce also, we're starting a new cohort program here at Stevens called Women in STEM Research, WISR, W-I-S-R. And this is going to be a distinct chosen cohort of women who are going to get an intensive research experience along with their biology training here, with the goal of moving into more research-focused fields. So be on the lookout if you're interested in the interface between health and research for the WISR program, which will be introduced and put out in public in the coming weeks. So with that, I'll pass over to Health Information Administration with Susan Haiti.
Thank you, Brandon. I am going to talk to you about the health information management. We call our program Health Information Administration here at Stevens College. Basically, we're one of those programs that you don't initially think of in healthcare, but there's a lot of opportunities that we have. For graduates of Health Information Administration, you can go into data quality, informatics, data analytics, privacy, risk and compliance, revenue cycle management, and consumer health information. Here at Stevens, we have two programs. We have the bachelor's in Health Information Administration, and then we have the post-baccalaureate certificate. We get a lot of students come into our program as a second career, and our post-bac certificate allows them to sit for the national exam for the RHIA, which is crucial to furthering your career in HIA or HIM. And I'm going to hand it back over to Dan and Dr. Kissinger.
Thank you to all my colleagues. As you can tell, here at Stevens, we have a range of programs in the health sciences, both at the bachelor's level and also, as you heard from my colleague, Dr. Blakemore, also at the graduate level with physician's assistant and also counseling. We have programs at the undergrad level for behavioral health science and psychology. And then there's a transition right into, if you want to go into graduate studies in behavioral mental health, here at Stevens, we have a graduate counseling program, as well as an animal science program. I heard that mentioned earlier. So we have an equine science program. So there, as you can tell, there's a wide range of programming that would lead you to pathways in healthcare in a number of different ways. So with that, I know we're running short on time. I'll turn it over to Brian if there's any questions.
Yeah, thanks, Dan. We did have one question come in from a student in Kansas City. They wanted to know, is pre-medicine the right path for somebody that's interested in going further into to being a medical doctor? Or is it better to go into maybe a nursing or something else on a stair step to that?
Well, I'm going to turn it over. My background's in counseling, so I'm going to turn it over to the people that really can answer that better. Dr. Blakemore, Dr. Hauk, or Dr. Moore. So whoever wants to jump in.
I'm happy to jump in on that. I think you're fine to go either way for medical school. A lot of medical schools will look positively on a nursing degree, and Stevens College's health sciences will prepare you to be ready for medical school entrance. So you will graduate from Stevens graduate school ready in either type of program.
Excellent. You know, that has become a big area of interest for a lot of the students out there. I know we've had students across the program that have asked about pre-medical, and so thank you for taking a moment to share that. And Dan, thank you to you and your team for coming in and making Healthcare Career Day a really good event, success for us, and we look forward to working with you, trying to get some of these students into some of the great academic careers that you have right there.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Brian. We really appreciate the opportunity to be part of the program.
So, you know, there's all kinds of different options out there for individual students that want to go into healthcare. You know, we just heard from two of the best in Missouri, Jefferson College and Stevens College, but let's hear a little bit about what University of Missouri Healthcare can offer.
I mean, there's a lot to say. Hold on, let me collect my thoughts. I was a freshman in college and I was kind of looking for something to help pay the bills.
It just seemed like the natural step when I got out of high school to start here.
Working at MU Healthcare is very fulfilling.
It's fulfilling.
It's exciting and challenging. Very positive and kind of supportive.
The opportunity that I've been blessed with.
I started as a tech.
I started out on weekends and then moved to evenings and eventually promoted up to supervisor of the warehouse.
There are a lot of avenues that you can go down depending on what you're interested in. There's not a day that's not entertaining.
They're great people. You know, we work together and we do communicate very well together.
Everybody's rooting for you and they want you to find your place in healthcare.
You just have the opportunity to grow here.
I've learned how to talk to people.
I would say this is the best job I've ever had.
I'm excited to come into work.
Happy to come to work every day. So yeah, I've recommended MU Healthcare to quite a few people.
It's so fantastic. You can't beat it.
That's just an opportunity for you, MU Healthcare. So if you're interested in working for them, check them out online. Now, it's students. You are the next generation. You are the future of Missouri and the future of healthcare in Missouri, and we want you to be prepared. And one of the ways that you can be prepared is by engaging right now in school, either at the middle or high school levels. With us today, we have Isabel Olson from the Health Occupation Student Association, who is the Vice President of Marketing and a health student of her own. Isa, thank you so much for joining us, and welcome to Missouri Healthcare Career Day.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here. I'm here today to talk a little bit about Missouri HOSA. I'm not sure if my slides are, oh, here we are.
There you go.
So if we can go to the next slide. So my name is Isabella Olson. I'm the Missouri HOSA Vice President of Membership. I'm personally interested in neonatal surgery, public health, and ophthalmology, but just like a lot of students in Missouri and all over the country, I feel like high school is such a special time where I really get to figure out what I'm interested and really explore all of the facets of the health career field. I am a junior in high school at Park Hill South High School in Riverside, Missouri, and HOSA is something that's very special to me, so I'm going to take some time to talk more about what it is to be a healthcare student today. So one of the deep secrets of life is that all that is really worth doing is what we do for others, by Lewis Carroll. And this quote really rings true to me because I think that it encompasses what it means to be in a health profession and what it means to be a healthcare student. And going on here, we have, what is HOSA Future Health Professionals? HOSA is a career and technical student organization that is worldwide. It's recognized by the U.S. Department of Education, and we serve middle school through college-age students. So I know that there's a lot of HOSA members here today, so hello, I'm so excited to see you all. And if you're not involved in HOSA yet, or you'd like to be, stay tuned. I have some opportunities if you'd like to get involved. But what it means to be a Missouri HOSA student, you meet regularly in your school chapter. We bring in guest speakers. You do community service with like-minded peers, and you really get to have that special space in your school where everyone is interested in health. Everybody is committed to one day being that health professional, and I think that is what is so special about HOSA. We have about 4,000 members statewide and 250,000 members worldwide. And since I'm so honored to give the closing remarks today, I wanted to give a quick little recap of our day. We've gone over a lot of different health professions, different programs, opportunities, and I think that's so special. I think I learned a lot about behavioral health today, and I hope that you found something that you want to learn more about or that you want to maybe invest in the future. And all of these things, like how many things that we were able to do today, really show how diverse and wide the healthcare industry is and how many opportunities there are out there for students. And next we have healthcare workers are difference makers. Caring for others is rewarding, and education can range from certifications to graduate school. Being a health professional means that, like Stevens just mentioned, and MU, and these certifications, or these ranging to graduate school, every type of education and every length of education can be a healthcare professional. And I think that's special. We get to choose what we'd like to do and how long we'd like to go to school and the field that we'd like to pick. Growth of the healthcare industry means increased job security. We're looking at a career field that we know that we will get to be in for a lifetime. It's rewarding because we get to help others, but we know that it's a secure thing that we can stay in. And the AAMC expects a shortage between 38,000 and 124,000 physicians by the year 2034. And I think that number is so staggering, and we can find other statistics out there. But what it really tells us is that we need healthcare workers to keep our world healthy. And through Missouri HOSA, through your health science programs at your school, and through science and STEM classes, we're able to kickstart that. So how do I practice HOSA values in school to prepare myself for a healthcare career? Well, let me talk about our 4 core values here at HOSA. And I want to highlight LEAD first. So LEAD is our first core value. In HOSA, we develop leaders. And if you're not in HOSA yet or you'd like to be involved, keep listening. There's going to be some things that you can do at your school if you don't have a chapter yet. And of course, if you'd like to make a chapter one day, but leadership means different things to everyone. I'm in a leadership position right now through the state office, but being a leader can mean speaking to a new classmate, someone who's new to your school, who's trying to figure things out. Being a leader means getting involved. And at HOSA, we do competitive events. So for example, you can compete in a skill, profession, teamwork, service, or leadership-based event. Leading others is something that you'll do when you're a healthcare professional one day. And so practicing this value while you're in high school really allows you to develop your confidence and your overall leadership so that one day you can serve patients and work with a team. Next, I want to highlight learn. Learning is all about finding really what you're interested in. So at HOSA, this is our second core value. HOSA provides skill and technical opportunities. So in school, we're really focusing on a lot of our students are technical students. They're maybe working on a certification that they can obtain in high school, but maybe you're learning through career and technical education at your school right now. Maybe you're trying to figure out what's in your community. Can you learn by shadowing other nurses or somebody who works in administration? Learning is really that first step and something that we will do our entire lives as health professionals. And I think that that is really great. So third, we have serve. HOSA is a service-minded organization, and that is one of the things that I most love about it. Our worldwide service project is Be the Match, which is a national donor registry, but there are so many ways to serve in your own community. You can join together with students to find something that your community really needs, whether that's volunteering at a hospital or at a 5K, or running a food drive, or maybe serving in a way that serves at a hospital. Or there are a lot of different opportunities that you can find, and that is something that we really hold true as a HOSA student. Try to serve in areas that you are passionate about, because passionate service is the best kind of service. When you're doing something you love, it isn't community service. It's like really just being involved through your passion. And so that's one tip I would give about service. Last, we have innovate, and that is our fourth and final HOSA core value. The healthcare industry is constantly changing, and it's important to innovate. So we compete in medical innovation. That's an example of an event at State Leadership Conference. Innovate through thinking about what can you change in the healthcare field, what gaps are there that we need to fill. These next generation of students, we're here, we get to join the healthcare industry and solve the problems that need to be solved. Through HOSA Future Health Professionals, we're able to work with each other to develop new ideas, work with each other on projects, and really become invested in our health science curriculum. And finally, if you'd like to bring HOSA to your school, feel free to scan this QR code. If you have any questions, you can definitely reach out to me. But a few reminders about HOSA. HOSA stands for Health Occupation Students of America, Future Health Professionals. We're worldwide, like I mentioned, and we're co-curricular. So the things that you're learning in school, in your health science or technical AP classes, all combines with the work that we do in HOSA. Lead, learn, serve, innovate, and all of these things come together to prepare you to one day join the healthcare profession. And I just want to say I'm so honored to be here today. I hope to see many of you. I hope to be working alongside many other health students one day. Thank you so much for coming to Virtual Healthcare Career Day 2023, and this was Missouri HOSA. Thank you so much.
So much for joining us, and thank you for your inspiring words of wisdom, as well as kind of setting us on a path for where we can go next with HOSA. And I hope a lot of you zoomed in and clicked on that QR code. We'll have a lot of this information available afterwards. But thank you, Isa, and good luck, all the best with you at Park Hills. All right, as we conclude our program for today, it wouldn't be possible without our supporters and our sponsors. And really, this is a culmination of effort by our sponsors from Chamber Benefit Plan, Jefferson College, Mosaic Life Care, Stevens College, our silver level sponsors, BJC Healthcare, Cox Health, Missouri State University, MU Healthcare, as well as the University of Kansas System, and our bronze level, Columbia College, Lincoln University, and our supporter level, Bothwell Regional and University of Central Missouri. I hope as you realize all the different career pathways we saw inside the world of critical transport, surgical tech and sterilization, radiology, and a variety of others throughout the course of the day. One thing is clear: if you have an interest with healthcare, you have a career pathway that's bright in the state of Missouri. Right now, there's over 6,700 nurse open positions in Missouri and a variety of others. So get started. Take a look into Missouri Healthcare Careers portal to find out what avenue you'd want to pursue. On the back end of that portal is a lot of opportunities through the different higher education organizations in the state of Missouri. And of course, engage your HOSA chapters locally. And if you don't have one, build one. Be a leader. Start a HOSA chapter in your school if there's not one there. This is a direct partnership with the Missouri Department of Elementary and Secondary Education, the Missouri Hospital Association, and the Missouri Chamber of Commerce. The team that made this possible is awesome. Shelley Waymeyer from the Missouri Department of Elementary and Secondary Education, Jill Williams with the Missouri Hospital Association, with Gene Clint from the Missouri Hospital Association, as well as Perry Gorel from the Missouri Department of Elementary and Secondary Education, and myself, Brian Krause, with the Missouri Chamber. We want to also thank our partners in this, the Outreach Studios that is zooming in live from Clayton, Missouri. So with that said, thank you for joining us for Healthcare Career Day 2023. We'll share out the resources in the coming weeks, and we look forward to seeing you at Healthcare Career Day in 2024.